Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. Tonight's a special night. I have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Mike Ball, here in the green room. Let's welcome him to the stage. What's up, Mr. Mike Ball?
What's going on, everybody? Look at it. We out here. How's everyone doing, man?
So, we're going to get to know you, and I want to know more about you. I'm sure a lot of my viewers want to know you, and I know you're streaming this from yours as well, and a lot of your viewers already know you. Let's say hello to Jake, Corey, Evil Rick. Hello, Henry. The guys from the Unaffiliated. It's a great show. If you guys haven't checked it out, go ahead and check that out. Jason, hello. I have not met you before, but hello, welcome. S&S Contracting. We've chatted before in the side chats. Hello, what's up? Marine Corps in the house. Right on. I'm an Army vet myself. Frogzilla, hello. Let's see. And we got Steve Easy. What's up, Stevie Easy? What's up, man? It looks like he is a member of yours too. Henry,
That's
how
right.
are you? Jamming, another member of the Unaffiliated. The process is in the house. Another West Coast guy there. The process. Let's see.
I'm a fan of the process.
Oh, absolutely.
He's hilarious, by the way. He's hilarious, and he's also someone that I follow as well on Instagram. And I'm really proud of watching people change and go from go from good people to better.
Yeah.
And that's kind of similar thing that happened to me. Whether something happened in his life to make it happen for him, or it just happened because he decided one day he wanted to do it. For me, it was because, sure, I've always hung around like the older cats. I've always done that kind of stuff, but it really kind of changed when I, unfortunately got into my accident. So when that happened, that was the unfortunate part, but there was a good, a massive plus to it that it made me feel like it made me grow. It forced me to grow like an extra few years.
Yeah. Well, I actually met the process face to face, shook his hand, gave him the one arm bike, biker hug down in Daytona back in March. Stand up dude and everything.
That's right. That's right. No, that's awesome. These are all amazing people, man.
Absolutely. So let's dig right into it. When did you start riding motorcycles?
Shoot, man. I was probably about 11, 12 years old. I started on dirt bikes. YZ95 was my or 99 or whatever they are. I forget what they are. They're 99s or 95s or whatever they are. I think they're 95s. Anyways, I had a great time and had a blast in basically just dirt biking in general. And then I got into like a little bit more of the motocross scene, and it wasn't until I really hurt myself out there that I actually tumbled the bike backwards and flipped myself upside down, like trying to go up a rock like a dummy, and flipped myself on my back, and the whole bike actually landed on top of me. And it didn't feel so great. So I had to recollect. I was probably at that time, probably about 17 or 18. And then I got my first Harley when I was like 21.
Nice. What was that?
That was an FXDB, a 2015 FXDB. For all you guys out there, it's a Street Bob. And from that bike, I bought from one of my good brothers. And this guy, his sole thing was to basically build bikes from the ground up. And let's say they're just frames or whatever. And then he would just build whatever from a cheap Dyna or whatever it is, or a frame. And then this dude would put a ton of love, care, and money into building these bikes up into like these perfect dime. And they're not salvage titles or nothing. You know what I mean? It just beautiful, beautiful motorcycles. And he ended up selling me his.
Well, I mean, on that note, I don't know if you've been following any of the stuff I've been doing on YouTube. I'm building that custom chopper to support the Homes for the Brave.
That's
and
awesome.
Because of my subscribers with some cash donations and another YouTuber, I was able to obtain a rolling chassis. Deadbeat Custom stepped up a little bit. Lowbrow Custom stepped up with a little bit.
Wow.
And then my shop, Chops Custom Cycles, stepped up, bought a Springer front end for it. Because if you're going to have a rigid chopper, you got to have a Springer on it.
Absolutely. I agree.
And a proper size coffin tank that my shop
Nice.
donated to this build. And so I'm still looking to get, motor, transmission, primary, hand controls, a lot. I have a lot.
But it's still a lot. It's
Yeah.
Trust me, even when you're like 3/4 of the way done, it's still a lot, you know.
I have a painter lined up, I have a powder coater lined up. And the color I've chosen to do this, it's very unchopper-esque, but it's very 90s chopper. It's going to be the metallic Bugatti blue.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah,
like that.
Everybody I mentioned that to, they're like, "Oh, right on, right on."
So I can get down with that.
Yeah.
My favorite color is blue already, and then you throw Bugatti on there. Shoot, it's got to be good.
Yeah, hey, it's the only thing a Bugatti can afford is the color. Not even the paint though, but the color.
No, I can probably get the touch-up paint. That's probably like $1,000, for the little, thing, nail polish thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably about $1,000.
Yeah. I was reading something on, we're getting off topic here real quick, but that if you bend a wheel and it's unrepairable, it's like $25,000 for one wheel from Bugatti.
No shit. That's crazy. That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy. That's a lot of money.
That's big boy money.
I mean, like I've had exotic cars in my, I guess my past life now, whatever. And yeah, I've had it where it's pretty expensive to do like an oil change. My most expensive car to do an oil change was $1,200 per oil change. And it was like, man, and that's just for the oil. That's not like, oh yeah, we're going to go down there and do the old, change out the fuel filter and all of that stuff. No, they weren't messing around with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very expensive.
So what do you currently ride now? Getting back on.
I ride another FXDB.
Nice.
It's a 2014. No, I'm sorry. My first bike was 2014. This one's a 2015. So my apologies on that. Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
I stepped up a year.
Really no different other than paint, unless you went with vivid black.
No, I both of them. Well, one was like the gloss black, and then the one I have now is like that denim black.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had vivid black, now you have denim black.
Right.
Right on, which is two great colors. I mean,
the black motorcycles, everyone, I got a black motorcycle, everyone's got the black motorcycle. Hey, I'm one of those guys. I got a black motorcycle.
Hey, black bikes matter.
Yes, exactly. We still matter out here, man.
Yep.
It's hard, especially when we're on the West Coast because, everyone's over here throwing around the craziest, most custom bikes in the world. And I don't care about, I love riding my ride, I love it more than anyone probably should,
Yeah.
And I love pulling up on that thing, but it's a club style Dyna. There's nothing more than just utility on it. There's not like a stereo system. I don't have any fancy gadgets or anything. I don't even hardly ever even look at the speedo or odometer.
No, ever. You go by engine sound and feel.
Yep, that's it. After many years of especially just being used to just riding anyways, especially with dirt bikes, I mean, everything is feel. There's never been like gauges to look at and stuff like that. No, you're riding. You just hear it, you go.
Yeah, right on. And so, as far as black bikes go, my good brother Mike Jerowitz, he's in the side chat. He just picked up his bike yesterday from the dealer. They put an EPA compliant 135 in his Road Glide ST.
Oh, wow.
Covered under the extended service plan because it was ordered when he bought the bike.
Wow.
And it's a 145 horsepower bike.
That's ridiculous.
Covered under warranty, EPA compliant.
Yeah, no, if it's completely common EPA compliant like that out the crate like that, like that's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane.
It is.
Like I didn't know. I mean, we all knew that eventually it's going to get higher and higher and higher, but it's kind of like pushing the limits at this point because I mean, you look at the technology of like a 131, right? And you look at that and go, wow, I mean, you really could be busting right through this, no problem. You know, you could have some serious issues with a 131 easily.
Actually, I put a 131 on my lowrider S.
How was it?
Great motor. And before the motor went in the frame, I took the whole valve train out of it and threw it in the garbage.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Why was that?
Because I want Build Back Better.
Yep, I got you. You know, you just pulled out all that crap out. And
the 64 millimeter throttle body and intake manifold that came with it went up for sale.
There you go.
You know, right now the bike is legit 155 horse at 165 foot-pounds of torque.
Man, and what do you know what is, I mean, a lowrider S, that's what's crazy because a lowrider S, I mean, it's got like the curb weight of like 740 pounds or something like that, or I forget what it is. But yeah, it's like that at that, you know, you got to think you got baggers that try, you know, pushing, you know, real hard with like 121s, and they do. And think about those are like 1,000-pound bikes, you know, and those aren't even pushing, you know, maybe 100 horse. Okay, well now you look over here, man, you're pushing 140 plus. Oh, dude,
I'm pushing 150 plus.
Yeah, see, that's just ridiculous. It's just
so if you look at my playlist and you go to Project Spaceball, the whole build is in there.
Wow. Okay, right on. Right on. That's crazy. And to have it warned, like have it.
No, mine isn't. No, I void warranties.
Oh, okay. You're saying his and then yours. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, his is under warranty. Mine isn't.
Right. I don't think. Well, actually, I have had a bike that was under warranty. I admit that I did have one, but all of the other ones, no warranties.
Yep. Now my brother Hell's on two wheels. He's pushing 170 on his bagger.
Oh my God, dude.
But he has a problem with keeping it together.
I would imagine you probably have some nuts and bolts rattling off at that point.
No, he eats lifters.
Oh, yeah. You're going to go through them.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 6,000 miles on my motor and, you know, I pound it. I don't pound it to its full potential because I have two problems with that bike, and they're not bad problems to have. One is traction, and the second is keeping the front end down.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Those are the two problems that are good to have.
Yeah, I don't really have that kind of problem. I mean,
you could.
Compared, I could, but I don't have that problem. But the one problem I guess the technique that I have that is not so good to have is I go from a standstill to like an instant 60, like immediately. Like it's like anytime I'm at a green light, I'm at a red, I'll be like riding side by side, and everyone that I ride side by side with is like, dude, like you guys slow down, man. Like you got to let me every time I have to catch up with you, you know, and it has nothing to do with like the actual speed limit. I'm not going past the speed limit, but what I'm doing is I'm definitely accelerating fast, you know, and I get to my speed limit point very quick.
Yeah. You know, so, and I'm just catching up here on the side chats and I'm getting distracted.
Oh, absolutely. No, I get it.
So I apologize. I apologize to you. And, you know, you have an Instagram account that's, you know, blowing up. You know, we talked briefly about it. You're at 19,700 followers on Instagram, which is understandable because you put out a lot of inspirational shorts or reels on Instagram just about daily, man. And that's right. Awesome.
I appreciate that.
And that's awesome. You know, the positive message you put out, and, you know, for a guy that's been through a lot, and you've been through a lot, to be so inspirational and have such a positive attitude, man, my hat off to you, you know, because most people will sit there and say, you know what, fuck the world. And I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Absolutely. And it happens a lot too, you know, and the thing is I saw that exact spot, right? And there comes a point, almost immediately. I mean, it basically did happen immediately, but it's like, okay, I see this route and I can go this route and nobody would blame me, right? I could lay up, hate the world, be angry, be petty about everything, whatever, and no one would blame me. And that's just the way it is. Wait, why do I hear myself? Oh, was that you? What
What?
was
No, I
that?
didn't mute you.
No. I heard myself. That was weird. I
Oh,
don't know
no,
how I.
I don't know. Reverb.
Oh, I don't know. But anyways, where was I at? Sorry about that.
That adversity coming through it.
My bad. I forget. Oh well, my apologies. I got caught off guard myself. So my
Yep. So
apologies myself.
Dallas is asking right here, which is a really good friend of mine. I consider him a brother. Where do you get your inspiration, your positivity?
Oh, and that's what I was kind of getting at.
Yep.
I saw where I could go down like this path or this path, and no one would blame me to go down this path. But I knew that as soon as I would do that, I would lose everyone around me. And I didn't want to do that, you know? And that's understandable too, because no one wants to be around miserable people. No one wants to be around misery, right? So I was like, okay, I accepted it because the second that I looked down when this all happened and I'm bleeding out and all this stuff and it's happening, I'm looking down and I told myself, if I survive this, then I have to accept it now. And I literally did. I accepted it right then and there.
So it's
And
like
then
a come to Jesus moment.
it was because I legitimately thought it was over. Like because I went to tourniquet myself. I went to go grab my own belt. And as I went to go grab it to like go tourniquet myself, unfortunately, my left scapula was completely caved in and crushed and gone. So
Yeah.
I couldn't even move my left arm at all. My left arm, my whole left side was just shot because I had also been thrown, 150 feet
Right.
as
Wow.
well, tumbling, and you got to remember from the second I got on impact is when my leg got cut off. So
Wow.
then I went flying for 150 feet.
Wow. Speaking of, people support you and everything. Here he is, Hollywood. What's up, Hollywood?
Man, the myth,
Welcome,
legend.
bro.
What's up? What's up?
Talk about a guy who's a good-hearted dude who's busy doing his thing. And Hollywood, I enjoy your show, man, all the time. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Back to you.
Absolutely.
So you had this happen, and I just heard this the other day. You were on somebody else's live. 28 days after your accident, you were back on 2.
So after 28 days after I got to the hospital,
Okay.
I spent 26, 27, 28 days, something very close to that in the hospital. So I got out, I got out April 2nd. So I'm trying to put that into, it's 28 days. So it's exactly the same. 28 days, 28 days. So I spent 28 days in the hospital, 28 days recovering essentially after the hospital. And then I was back on the bike.
So 56 days from the day you went in the hospital to the day you got back on the bike.
Right.
That's amazing. That.
And you have to be fitted for a leg at that time too. And they do not recommend you to get, any type of leg at that time whatsoever, because unfortunately I was super swollen up. So my leg is still swollen from that whole process, right? 4 different surgeries and the whole 9. So I'm still swollen up. So they know that my leg size is going to shrink. Yep. And every time they mold me, it's super expensive to do. So they usually want to wait 4, 5, 6 months until after the accident before they mold you.
Well, you're a biker. You can't tell you not get on your bike.
They were all tripping that I wanted, like everybody in the hospital, everyone was tripping that I was like, all telling them I'm going back on the bike, dude.
Yep.
Like this is no big deal.
As Family for Life says, straight up beast.
Hey, much love, brother.
My brother Corey says that's, you're a badass, and you are.
I appreciate that.
To go through all of that and get back on the bike, and you have, not to get into details, you have a heck of a support structure, brotherhood behind you. That's when brotherhood shows or it doesn't show. And I've said it before, man, a lot of brotherhood is there. You just have to know where to find it and how to look for it. There are a lot of false flags of brotherhood.
Yep.
It's brotherhood of the moment. What's not what you've done, it's what you could do, like brotherhood, and that's not true brotherhood. And there are some people out there that my circle is small, and it's small for a reason because
Right.
I look for solid general people to keep in my circle. And you're a solid, genuine dude, man. And that's
I
why I
appreciate that.
follow you and everything because, you seem to be, from what I've seen, and this is the first time you and I've talked
Yeah,
almost face
face to
to face.
face. Right.
And, I'm gaining a lot more respect for you. So much love, honor, and respect,
Appreciate that, and vice
goes a long
versa.
way, you know, and it's just an amazing story that you have and you have to tell and stuff. Have you decided to write a book about it?
I've actually had, when this whole thing went down, actually ended up getting a PR team, that helped me, put out a whole bunch of stuff, and they were the ones telling me you should write a book, blah blah blah. And I'm like telling them like, no, I don't want to write a book, I'm thinking like end life kind of thing, like, oh, my story's not told completely yet, and believe it or not, out of all people, Black Dragon was the one telling me that
Yeah.
I was on the phone with him. And he's like, no, dude, like just write up to now. You know what I mean? And then you write, the next chapter or whatever of your life, and I was like, hey, you know what? I might do that. I never really kind of thought of it that way. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
thought of it was more like autobiography, like all the way through type thing.
Yeah.
But you can break it down. So I've been thinking about doing it.
Yeah. See, I want to comment here. It says, brotherhood is a full-time job that needs constant upkeep. Well, I'll argue that if it's true brotherhood, there's no upkeep at all because no matter what, a brother in need is a brother in need, and it should come from the heart without hesitation or thought.
It does. It does, but it is inconvenient. I will promise you that. I promise you. And
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
because it comes at the most inconvenient
I
time.
promise you that. That stuff it is definitely for me I see where he's going with that, and I know what he's getting at too because it's like any relationship you have to like work at, right? Like nothing is just perfect. You have to
Right.
constantly work at it. And I think I like that. I kind of like that idea too because I gel as well as you can gel really well with people and then not talk to them for a long time and then come back to each other. That's different. But when you very first come together like that, I don't know. I can see it. I can see both sides for sure.
Yep. Yep. And it's amazing, when that happens
When you
because
actually have when you actually find that brotherhood, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like Mike Jerowitz, I love him to death. If he called me up 2 o'clock in the morning and says, I need you. Oh, my only question is,
Either.
where are you? And then I'm there.
Right. Just send me the location.
Yeah.
Send me the pin, I'll be there.
I won't ask why, who, what, when, how, or why. I'll just get there and we'll deal with it then and make sure I get him home safe. Or,
That's right.
that's how I am with anybody I consider a brother, you know.
Yep. And that kind of tells you
We'll
who's
deal with the
important.
questions later. Let's first get you safe.
Yes, yes. Let's get you into that, safety zone. Like it's like kind of like almost the thought of like shoot now, ask for forgiveness later. It's just like, hey, I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just gonna get you out of the situation. Then once it calms down, then we can figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Funny story, Mike, I said, Mike and I, he's local to me and literally he is my brother. I travel with him and his wife and he and I
That's
just
awesome.
travel. And I call him up I sent him a message one day. I'm thinking about doing a thing. He goes, okay, do I need bail money?
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
a
know
legit
that.
question.
Absolutely. Hey, do I need to come up with this shit now?
Yeah.
Should I be selling some equipment right now? I know.
Yeah. Even Steve says it here. Being a solo guy is even harder to find true brothers, especially when coming from the streets. So if I call someone brother, it's for life. And
That's a fact.
and that word gets thrown around a little bit too easily.
It does. It does.
And the way I am, I will call you by your name. And then when I start to earn your trust and your respect, like you start to respect me and I start to respect you, that's when I start calling you bro.
Right. It's like the levels, the tiers of this.
Right. And then once you've earned my complete trust and respect, that's when I use the term brother. Like I know on less than a hand, I could count on 3 or 4 people that I could say, hey, I got 10 grand. Can you hold on to this for me until I need it? Or it could be 100 grand.
They can hold it down.
And they will sit there. And actually, I know a couple of them will actually sit there and go, okay, I'm going to take it and invest it for you. So when you want it back, you'll have 15, 20 grand.
Right. You'll have extra on top. Right.
Yeah. And they won't sit there and say, I'll take a cut or nothing.
Right. They'll just do it just to do it.
That's when I know I have a brother.
Sure. They're always looking at the best interest of you. You know what I mean? That is the key word is finding somebody that is looking for the best interest, and it's hard to find that in people because we are always looking for the best interest of ourselves naturally. So it's hard to find those empathetic people. And for those people that don't understand what empathy is, that's for people that can like put themselves in other people's shoes. It goes a long way when you can be empathetic and go, okay, I may not be able to relate to that, but I'm going to try my damnness to like try to see it from his eyes.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. See, heavy on bro.
Yep. I mean, it goes right there when we throw the term around hero a lot in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And we were downrange and the company commander's like, you guys got to stop, we'd call them shitbags. And he says, you can't call him shitbag. So we start calling him hero.
I like that. Nice.
So, okay. They went from being shitbag to hero. Nobody wanted to be a hero at that point.
No one wants to be a hero. Great. Works out.
Yeah. So enough about me. Let's talk about you. All right. Just so everybody knows, I take 0 credit for the thumbnail. That's all Mike Ball.
No, it's my team.
I gave him a thumbnail. He came back, says, "What about this one?" I'm like, yeah, mine sucks."
Nah, man. I'm like I said, I'm very blessed with the team that I have. For sure.
And I went with that because that's the most badass thumbnail that's ever been on my channel.
Nice.
And across Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. That's what it is.
Nice.
So
I'm stoked on that.
Yeah. Which is awesome. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this to you. If you ever travel out the East Coast, man, and you're in Connecticut, you need a place to crash, my door's always open for you.
And vice versa. And I'll go out on a limb for you as well. And you can go ahead and come over here in California.
Yep. So well, I've flown the whole San Fernando.
Did you get the pun, by the way? The limb pun?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got it. So, I've flown the whole San Fernando Valley.
Oh, yeah?
I picked up in Barstow, California. We flew it all the way up to Fort Lewis, Washington.
Very nice.
My helicopter, which was
what?
Awesome. Yes.
What? That's got to be a story.
Well, we just real quick. We came back from Iraq. The boats came off in Corpus Christi. The helicopters came off the boat in Corpus. We had to put the rotor blades on them. We had to get them test flight and all that. So we did all that. We parked them in Beaumont, Texas. All 14 aircraft. And it was myself, another flight engineer, a couple pilots, and a maintenance test pilot. And, we did all the write-ups and everything we had to do, got them all flyable, flown to Beaumont, parked them. The rest of the flight crews came down, and they took their helicopters back to Connecticut or Pennsylvania, or some went to Georgia, some went to North Carolina. My aircraft is going to Fort Lewis, Washington.
Damn.
So after spending a year and a half in Iraq, I just came off of leave, and I'm down in Corpus and Beaumont, Texas, getting these aircraft over. And then there's like, yep, you're going to Fort Lewis, Washington with your aircraft. So we flew across Texas, spent the night in, I think it was San Antonio.
Yep.
Left San Antonio, flew out to Beaumont, got gas, flew to Reseda, got gas in Reseda, spent the night in Reseda.
You would have to do multiple gas stops like this. Yep.
Oh, yeah. And then left Reseda, stopped in right at the California-Oregon border.
Yep.
And then from there, right into Fort Lewis.
And then doing the same thing back?
No, we were leaving it
back
there for a reset, so we flew commercial back.
Oh, nice. I bet you were stoked on that. You're like, dude, one flight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Cool.
And, well, we were all in uniform because we literally left Fort Lewis, Washington, right to the airport with our flight gear, and we go get our tickets, and all four of us were immediately upgraded to first class.
Wow. How cool is that?
That was awesome.
Would be, heck yeah. That's the one that I don't, I don't got first class privilege or nothing. But the one thing that I do get, other than getting hounded at airports, because every time I walk through a metal detector, it just goes off, and for valid reason, right? So every time they pull me off, they have to
give me a leg
swab me down. They're like, dude, we have to swab you down, all this stuff, because they can't, for people that want to like ask, like, can they make you take off your leg? No, that's illegal. That's my body part, so no, you can't. Right. But they can do the X-ray thing. They can do all of that, and they can swab you for like, and what they're actually swabbing you for is like bomb, any type of, bomb materials or anything that's explosives or explosive. And then once I get past that BS, then for some reason, I'm thrown right into the front of everything. Yeah. I get to go right into the front of, the very first to board. I'm very first to, and by the way, I don't have to wait in the line to get to the JSA. They walk me right up and I get interrogated right away. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And the whole family gets to go with me. Anytime I go anywhere, whoever's with me gets to roll up with me too.
Go right up to the
up to the front and all the way. Yep. And then same thing when you get on the flight, when they're calling for people, I'm the very first call.
Nice.
Yep. They give us extra time, you know what I mean, to get our bags and stuff.
And you know what though? Not that you need it, but people in your situation would, but I don't think that slows you down at all.
Not yet. Hasn't yet. Thank God, but
in my opinion, and take this any way you want, you haven't lost a step.
I appreciate that. That was the whole point of doing exactly what I wanted to do from the get-go of this, was like, I can prove that you can live a prosperous, meaningful life after something so tragic. And how can somebody deal with that on a mental scale? Because it's usually what drives us crazy is what's after crazy. Okay. We go through craziness, and then what makes us go crazy is what is after crazy.
Yep.
And that was a thing that I knew, and it was like, okay, I need to be like extremely headstrong here, because this could, be a pivoting point of my life where it all goes downhill, or I can either win, and it was like, well, I was naturally, an upbeat person anyways, prior to me being, it didn't change my entire personality, but it did definitely help me grow up, in many aspects.
Well, for real quick, what's up, Danny? What's up, Thumpers? What's up, Rody? Good to see you guys here tonight in the side chat. But, all in all, man, you're like a phoenix. You had a tragedy happen, and out of the ashes came a better Mike Ball.
That's right. No, I appreciate that. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted, and to be able to continue that.
That's my opinion. I'm sitting here. I want somebody to help change my mind, because you won't. Hey, what's up, Ray? How you doing? Ray's Moto Life is here.
What's up, Ray? How's it going?
So what got you involved with doing social media?
Well, social media has been a part of my life since the very, very beginning of social media. I kind of realized how big of a deal it was going to be back in 2009 when Facebook really was, when that when I joined Facebook was 2009. And same thing with Instagram was when that first came out, 2010 or 2011, whatever. And it I don't know, man. I just knew that you could tap into a whole bunch, like, and I had been performing live, mind you. I had been performing live all the way up to this point on actual stages with bands and stuff like that, touring. And the biggest crowd I got to luckily play in front of was 40,000 people. And that's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm getting at is that then I realized like how amount of people that I saw of 40,000 people was like mind blowing to me. But then you do the same thing on like, Instagram or any type of social media, or let's say YouTube or anything like that. People are going, oh, I only got, 30K, views on this. Like, do you know how many people 30,000 views is? Like, that's a lot of people to view your stuff. You have no idea. It almost
Yeah.
keeps you in real life,
Yeah.
and so it doesn't allow you to, I don't know, get, sidetracked by it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's expound on your performing. So you were in a couple bands.
Yeah, I played in quite a few bands actually.
What
Yeah,
bands would that be?
Reno Divorce, 405 Pileup, Circus Jerks, Yeasty Boys with a Y. I've been out in a couple of wild projects across the whole landscape. I've done all sorts of really interesting collaborations, even recently. I still play, still perform, still do all that stuff.
Right on.
But I love changing my music as well. I went from, basically a full-time punk rock dude to changing it to, all right, well, it could even be as heavy as like gangster rap, but then I put the mix of the heavy guitar on top of it, or mix and do different sounds, and
Yep.
that's something that kind of like, I don't know, brings out creative. That's
Kind of
how
like,
I think that's how you grow,
yeah, kind of
is
like
by
Kid
getting
Rock.
into
This is hip hop and country and
right.
rap and
But that's how you grow, is getting into uncomfortable spaces, in places that you haven't been to before. And that's how you're going to grow as an artist, is getting out of your comfort zone like that.
yeah. Now, the closest I've come to, being around an artist was just recently. I was hanging out and drinking with CJ, the guitarist for Drowning Pool,
Okay, right on.
who was an original member of Drowning Pool.
Yep.
And what a great, awesome dude. And, very lucky to sit there and chat with him, hang out. My wife and I hung out with him, and, he gave us some amazing gifts. One was a signed CD by everybody in the band,
That's cool.
which
That's
was
super cool,
awesome.
especially
I'm
if
a
it's
big
from
Drowning Pool
everyone.
fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah. And I got a poster that was signed by everybody
Heck
in the
yeah.
band. I paid for that. That's how I met CJ. He was working the swag booth because they had to fire their person, who was peddling their swag, because a couple previous shows to that, he pocketed all the money and tens of thousands of dollars was gone.
Yep. That's a lot of people do that, man. And promoters are known for doing that kind of thing. I've been screwed over many times over the years from promoters pocketing the money, and who knows what happened to those people that stole our money after that? Who knows what happened to them?
Yeah. Okay. So you've been rock star, basically, you're an
No.
Instagram star, you're a YouTube star, you got 7,300 followers or subscribers on YouTube with memberships. That's awesome.
We're working
And
on it. Right.
what brought you to YouTube?
So, believe it or not, I've been working behind the scenes. I'm sure all of you guys here in the chat have seen me before. Meaning that I am behind the scenes of like all of these shows, I have been for a long time. And it wasn't, I've been also leading up to that as well, as I've been streaming for 15 years previous, so I never was on YouTube. I just landed in YouTube, and I've always watched YouTube videos and stuff like that. Back in the day, I was a streamer. Well, I don't know if you remember or not, but YouTube not that long ago didn't have a streaming platform part. It was just an upload service. So I was streaming back when there was no streaming on even YouTube,
Right.
you know? So I was finding other services to do that for me.
Yep.
And then I stuck to those platforms because of not only what I was doing, but also because I had also gained an audience there too. So I didn't want to like abandon the people that I had worked years on, you know, an entire community and then just ditch them, you know, because you're going from one platform to the next. And so the crossover rate from, let's say, one platform to the next is near nothing. And I knew that. I knew that was going to happen. And I knew that the crossover rate is like less than 1%. It's less than 1%. It's like a half a percent that will actually go over to your other platform and subscribe to you on your other platform. So it's really hard to get those people. So I knew that coming over to YouTube was going to be interesting. And I never really got started on it until I was like really heavy into the background of all of this, until Hollywood really from Insane Throttle was like, hey man, like I want to put you, you know, on the show and we'll do a show together and all this stuff. And after the interview that we did, that's what it was, we did the interview together. And then he was like, hey man, like, I think me and you could do an awesome podcast together. And it was like, let's do it. And ever since then, that was when it was like we were working together. And I had done like multiple episodes, like probably 20, 30 deep, you know, one each week or whatever, before I had uploaded anything to anything. You know what I mean? I didn't have a YouTube platform. I didn't have a platform. I was just speaking on his, you know? And then he was like, you know what, dude? You need to be running your own channel, you know, by this time, you know? And so thankfully he let me have his backup account, and here I am, you know what I mean? And what an amazing gift, you know, to be gifted something like that. And that's why you guys still see his videos on the channel. I'm not going to delete his videos. You know, that's his hard work, you know.
Yeah,
and
that would be disrespectful.
No, yeah, and he told me too. He's like, oh, just delete them all. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to delete your work, dude. That's your stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sitting here trying to be greedy or nothing, you know, but like that's his work. I don't need to take all the spotlight all the time.
Yep. Now the Thump Reaper wants to know how to start a live stream. I use StreamYard to use for my live streams. It's really simple. I'm an idiot. If I could figure it out, anybody can.
I wish we had this software back in the day. What I used to be dealing with, it would take literally 2.5 hours just to set up, you know, just software wise, you know, because you're running OBS and then you're running your stream elements, all these pop-ups. These are all deep streaming stuff that you get embedded, you know, on these different layers of different things. It gets kind of crazy. So having something like StreamYard, oh my God.
And it's a free platform. You don't have to pay for it.
You don't have to if you don't want to. Yeah, I pay for it too, you know.
Hey, good morning to you, Kazemoto from down under, or should we say good day?
Good day, right? Right.
You know, Kaze's a good dude, man. He puts out some good videos as well. So yeah, I mean, you've been killing it. You know, your production is off the chain. You've done some big production work behind the scenes, like you said, for other mainstream YouTubers. Now you're doing your own thing, and you know you're still on with Hollywood.
Right. We still have our Sunday shows that is going strong, man. We have every Sunday is on my channel and on his as well. Is the Hollywood and Mike show. It's very simple, and it's about the good that happens in the biker scene. You know what I mean? And it can be anything down from whether it be clubs, or it could be organizations, or it can just be, hey, we're independents and we support this, or whatever. If you have an amazing message that can change for the betterment, right? That's what I want to see. You know, that's what I want to bring onto the platform.
So Danny has a question. Have you lost subs on that channel Hollywood gave you since you didn't build it yourself? Asking because of your content is different.
Have I lost any subs on the channel?
Yeah.
No. So so you know how that works, Danny, of course, and everyone that's in the YouTube realm. Yeah, you know, you can see where, you know, when I had received the channel, he hadn't used it for quite a minute, so the numbers were down on it by itself, right? So then I came on there and started uploading and doing, and I of course did all my crazy research as I do on everything, learned how to do the proper tagging, learn how to do the proper everything to get the best possible way to hit the algorithm. And then, so once I figured that out, I was like, all right, I'm going to figure out this route, you know, and this is what I've done. So no, I've actually gained 2,000 subs since getting the channel.
Awesome. And Texas Rider wants to know, what camera equipment do you use?
I'll show you right here. I got them right here. These are Logitech C9, or not C920s. These are Logitech Brio 4Ks, believe it or not.
Yep.
And they're 4K. They're actual nice camera quality. I've got 4 of them here, and the one that I'm using right now. And that actually came out of the stream house that I was telling you about earlier in the show. You know, when I was showing you that whole thing in the green screen room about my whole little studio back in the day, because I've been streaming longer than just right here. You know, it's definitely been longer than that.
Yeah. So he says, yeah, it's definitely an up and down game for sure. That's awesome, Mike.
No, I appreciate that, Danny. Appreciate that.
And, you know, for me, for doing my live streams, I got an Osbot Tiny 4K.
Nice.
And it's got the AI built into it, which at times drives me crazy. I also, for, you know, when I do moto vlogging, very little of it, I have Insta360. And in the garage, when I'm doing my how-to videos, it's all with the GoPro Hero 10 or 11.
Yep.
And that's
and
it.
I got the GoPro 11 as well. I have that just, you know, not for any of this equipment right here, but when I'm out and about doing kind of like anything like that, especially when we're doing stuff like, you know, like when we do stuff on the channel of like Demon's Row, we're using GoPros, you know, that's what we're using all the time when we're walking around events or whatever, we're using GoPros.
Yep.
So those
Demon's
are, you know,
another
we don't have to use these like crazy cameras or nothing. GoPros are awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about spending the big money on the cameras and all that. And I'm like, let me get better at editing and making thumbnails before I buy a camera I don't know how to use.
Well, I always say, just start. If you want to get in this space, just start with what you got. You know, the best equipment is the equipment that you got.
Yeah. I mean, I forget the name of the channel, but the guy does all his filming and editing on his phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people that actually do that.
Yep. And Steve says, it takes balls to put yourself out there for the whole world to see. Personally, I would never wanted to be internet famous, but definitely respect the people who do it. I don't want to be internet famous. I just want to be me and have a good time. You know, when I decided to start my channel, John Maxwell stopped putting out content. I'm like, well, you know, I wrench on bikes. I could do that. Well, it's not as easy as it looks.
I could only imagine.
You know,
I can only imagine how hard that actually is. That's got to be hard.
Well, if you watch like early videos, my camera positioning is horrible. You know,
yeah, but you gotta start somewhere, and that's the thing is, like, that's what stops people from doing it, is like that first step. And it's like you have to just dive deep into it if you're gonna do it, you know, and you just got to do it. Like, say F it, and you know that at this point, dude, like, you're gonna suck. Your first 100 videos aren't gonna do shit. Just get that through your head.
I got a comment just the other day on one of my earlier videos that's about a year old, and I've only been at this February will be 2 years I've been doing YouTube, and it's about a year old. He's like, well, you know, you're kind of nervous and you got to slow down and you got to show a little bit more. And I said, yeah, that was earlier on in my YouTube career. I'm still early in it, but, you know, thanks for watching and thank you for your input.
Right.
You know,
no, absolutely. And like how Steve was saying, it's not easy for people to come up here. All and how I know this, not only because of me being a streamer myself or being out here, but the thing is I always get almost every single week I get remembered that people get nervous. You know what I mean? We'll be behind the scenes on the Hollywood and Mike show, and we'll be with those people we're interviewing. They'll be like, they'll be nervous, and these guys are high ranking personnel and whichever, and they're nervous,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, like, all right, like I see, like, wow, like, but see, I'm not used to being nervous like that anymore because I've done it for too damn long,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just another part of the day.
Yeah. I got recognized last summer for having a channel at a local bike night event, and that was kind of cool.
That
And
is
then
very
when I
cool.
was out of my state, I was upstate New York at Catskill Mountain Thunder. Quick plug for them. They put on a good show. It's an old school biker rally. It's a great time. I got recognized waiting for Adelita's Way to start playing. And it was right outside the Drawing Pool booth. And, I've sat and talked with the guy, and I gave him a sticker and a poker chip. I said, hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And he's like, wow, you're just like you are on your videos. I'm like, I'm just me, man.
Right.
I'm just me, just having fun and enjoying it. It's a hobby for me, and I'm having fun.
No, absolutely. And that's how I was talking to you about that's how I kind of started as well not kind of, absolutely. It was a hobby, but I kind of like what you were asking about earlier about the whole social media thing. I knew that that was going to be the future. I knew that was going to be like, even to this day, the United States is not ready for social media.
No.
The potential that it can do. Like, I've actually really seen what the potential of what some of this social media shit can do. And it's actually, sometimes it's very weird, but sometimes it can be worth more than money. It's very weird. You know what I mean? And like you can find yourself in very niche, very special situations because of it. It's very interesting.
So Texas Rider wants to know, what editing software do you use, if any? I'm sure you do.
For me, I use Sony Vegas Pro. That's what I've always used, man, is Sony Vegas Pro. Or Sony Vegas Pro. Adobe Premiere Pro, Vegas Pro. I went combined two different ones.
Yep.
My apologies. Yeah, so Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's a degree on its own, just to understand any Adobe product.
Yeah, Adobe is not fun. Let's just say learning Adobe in itself is not. It's never fun learning Adobe. Like
you got to get a master's degree in it.
I swear, dude. Like, you got to get not only a master. You're going to spend, not only after you get that master's degree, you're going to spend another 2,000 hours on YouTube searching up each and every what this does and how to do this, how to do that. Oh my God, I've spent so many hours researching and doing things for editing and doing all sorts of stuff. Absolutely.
See, I found Video Proc Vlogger. It's a free software. It's a free download to use. There's no pay for it. And I'm still learning it. And just today, when I was putting a video together, editing it, I found a function I said it'd be kind of cool if I could do this as software. But then I was hunting around and I found it. I'm like, oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
hey, what works is works.
Road Reality, he does a lot of videos on editing, and the guy does just phenomenal stuff with editing. If you ever get a chance, check out his channel. If you really want to learn about editing, a lot of his content is editing and motovlogging, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah, and that's something that I got to admit that I don't spend a great deal doing, meaning editing in the sense of like doing like all these crazy transitions, doing this, that, the other, per video upload, because I don't really do those uploads like that. I'm really more of a streamer, as you guys kind of saw and heard. But I have now learned how YouTube works. And so I am definitely utilizing YouTube, how it's basically wanting me to use it. And if you use YouTube the way it wants to be used, it will reward you for it. Period.
Okay. Well, spill the beans now that you opened the
I
door.
cannot do that. I cannot do that, man. I can't give out the secret sauce live like that.
Okay, maybe you'll send it to me in an email.
Maybe.
Maybe.
50
But,
bucks cash out.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
Dallas asks a good question. Does this prosthetic leg give you any problems on long rides?
Yes, it does actually. And that's a great question, actually. And it's very rare that I get a question that's unique like that. And that one, yes. And I'm going to explain why. There's a sleeve that goes all the way up basically to around my actual leg that is carbon fiber, right? But then the mold is carbon fiber, but then that's what I lock into it with a pin. And so when I lock in to the bottom of the prosthetic with the pin, because I also have connected to my leg is a pin that goes into the actual prosthetic, right? So then once I put that in, I've got to put this entire sleeve up all the way up my thigh to keep all the air in. So every time I take a step, it's actually essentially I have like a ball thing at the bottom of my prosthetic at the ankle. And what it does is it pulls the air out from inside of my leg and pushes out, right? So it gives me that suction. The reason why I have a double locking system like that is because you don't need double. Most of the time, people with prosthetics have only one way of locking down. I have two because I ride a motorcycle. All right. I told my prosthetist, I said, listen, I need to be able to have a leg that I can ride. And when I get sweaty, for instance, it doesn't just fly off, which has happened to people, you know? So the sleeve, if you sit down longer than an hour, the sleeve itself will bug the hell out of you because, as you guys know, a dyna is a mid controls. So I'm doing 90 degree, with my legs. So the more my leg is bent at a 90, the more pain I get underneath my actual kneecap. So it's super painful. So I have to roll down that whole sleeve. I'm going to show you what it looks like. See how it goes all the way up? That's that sleeve.
Yep.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. The first club I was in, my VP had a prosthetic right arm and he had the hook.
Yep.
That would open and close.
And he would use it with his other shoulder, right?
He would roll his shoulder to roll the throttle.
Nice.
And I can tell you, it didn't slow him down one bit.
That's right.
May he rest in peace. He passed away this past summer. But the man was one of the best finished carpenters I've ever seen.
That's right.
With one arm.
That's right.
I've seen him run the table playing pool with one arm.
That's awesome.
And he was accused of cheating because they were telling the hook is like a permanent bridge. So he's like, all right,
it's a permanent, steady, perfect.
Double or nothing. You rack them. I'll even let you break.
Right.
And I won't. He took his prosthetic arm off and says, now let's play. And he ran the table again with one arm. And he's like, now you got to pay double.
No, absolutely. I would expect that.
And it was a pretty serious pool game because they're playing $100 a ball.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a ball. Perfect. Now we're talking. Good.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean,
No, absolutely.
My wife says, yeah, he hung cabinets with one arm. The guy was phenomenal.
No, that's incredible. That's incredible because if you want to do something, no matter we are our own limitation, right? That's really what it is if you want to do something, you'll notice that you'll end up doing it. If you want to do it bad enough, you'll do it. But it's a matter of prioritizing what is important to you, what matters to you. A lot of that stuff is important to me. My mental health is very important to me. And that's something that I work on all the time just to basically keep me sharp. You know what I mean? It's to constantly keep me in that space, So I'm always looking for, because we can sit here and consume endless, mindless content that's going to be brain numbing or laughable in the moment. But when you really you got to pay attention to what you're watching all the time, because sure, it can be funny for a little bit, but then if you're watching all this negativity, I promise you it's going to affect you, so look up like better ways of being a person, better ways to becoming a better man, or how to do this, how to become a better YouTuber, how to whatever, I will sit there and do that research and really take in those positive things rather than the negative.
Yeah. Now, do you do any inspirational speeches at all?
No, not really, but I definitely have wanted to I have done a handful of them in the past, but it's not like I have done a immense amount of them or anything. It's something that I really, really would love to do. Definitely have a plan on how I would do it. I would definitely be riding my Harley onto the stage and doing a burnout. And then I would flop my kickstand down with my left leg that's amputated, throw the kickstand down, and hop on the microphone, start talking.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That'd be awesome.
That's exactly how I would do it.
You do a lot of inspirational speeches on your Instagram.
I try to, yes.
But they're shorts, and
yes.
they're literally 15 to 60 seconds, and I enjoy them because I battle with PTSD from the service and being in the Middle East and things like that.
Absolutely.
That that actually helped me out.
Oh, that's awesome to hear,
say
man.
Thank you.
No, I really appreciate you letting me know that. Like that means the world to me, and that's it does me as much good as it does the other person that's probably viewing it, right? Like when I hear the feedback, that's what is rewarding at the end of the day. Like that's what I've always loved, was like, all right, if I can change my world, right? Because everyone says, how can I change the world? How can I change the world? Well, if you want to know how to change the world, you got to change yourself.
Yep.
And then you're going to change the people's world around you. And then it's going to slowly change the people's world around them.
Yep.
So then it's a trickle down effect. And it all started because you changed your own world. And that's what I realized is like, all right, this is how you better the world.
And there's a good saying to go with that. What you put out in the world is what comes back to you. So if you put out negativity after negativity, the world's coming back at you negative.
Sure.
So if you put out positive vibes all the time, or you try to put out positive vibes and help your fellow human, no matter what race, creed, gender, religion they are, doesn't matter. You try and help that person out.
Right.
One day that'll come back to you.
Right. And that's
and don't count on it.
I've seen it though. I've seen that happen where it's come tenfold like a year later, where I was like, oh wow. Like I've had it where of course, because I'm on social media like that, a lot of the amputee community follows me. And so they'll see me doing what I do and they'll be like, dude, I saw your videos while I was in the hospital and I was literally thinking about self-deleting myself. You know what I mean? And now I saw that you could do everything that you wanted, that you could do that you could normally. I was like, holy crap, like this guy just proved the world that you can still do this. And that's exactly what I wanted. And that kind of stuff right there, I've had multiple time and time again where I'm getting, everyone that knows me knows I'm an amputee. So anytime someone gets amputated, guess who's getting a phone call? This guy. So I get a phone call all the time, like, hey, will you contact my brother? He just went down. He lost his leg. Like, will you talk to him, please? Like, he really wants to talk to you, and it would mean the world. And I'm like, absolutely. Like anybody that is in that situation, I need to be bedside with. I'll FaceTime you. You know what I mean? Like I'm right there with you.
Yep. Like XAN says, rubber down, faith up.
Absolutely. I like that.
XAN's a good dude. I want to say he's a holy roller, but he's a spiritual man, and I respect that with him. And
nice.
But at the same time, he's still a biker.
Right. Hopefully he's not getting faithed up with Xans, meaning Xanax. You know what I mean?
No. He actually, when I first found found him and we found each other. And another YouTuber goes by Moto Noggin. We were calling him Zan Biker, and he's no, it's XAN because of Jesus Christ. It's like, got it.
Oh,
then when you look at his logo, it's the fish with wheels.
Right. I did see that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, he's a good dude. You are an inspiration to a lot of people out there in the world, even to me, because I listened to your speeches. And, when people sit there and think about, well, I had this happen, I can't do none of this before. I always think about, and I forget the name of the movie. It's a good movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. Wanted to be a Navy diver. He fought to get to school. He fought all the way through the school, fought to graduated, gets out into the fleet, picks up this nuclear bomb that was lost, gets it picked up, and the shackle broke. It took his leg, and the Navy wanted to retire him. And he's like, no, I'm not want to retire. I still want to dive.
Right.
And
exactly.
He proved beyond a fraction of a doubt that he could still do the job. Yep. And he went back to diving and then finished off the rest of his career at mandatory age of retirement as an amputee.
Yeah. And it's amazing what you can do. And people have asked that, I even saw that comment, a couple of live streams ago, that someone asked, like, oh yeah, when you swim, do you swim around in fucking circles? No, you know what I mean? Definitely not. It doesn't affect you like that. Okay. I promise you, you're not going to outkick your whole body's weight. You know what I mean? I promise you that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, really, it doesn't feel any different, when you're swimming.
Yeah. That's awesome. And you have, like I said earlier, you have a great family around you that helps you and supports you, which is awesome.
No, and that's where I was able to be embraced heavily. You got to remember, here's the thing that I leave out of a lot of the interviews, because usually it's hard to fit a lot of things in. But I wasn't able to have anybody visit me in the hospital during the 28 days I was there, because it was March 6th of 2021. What was going on during that time? COVID. Heavy. My own parents couldn't even visit me. The entire 28 days, my parents were able to fight the charge nurses enough all day long to allow them to see me one by one, by the way, completely, one out of the building and one in, you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Yep. Doing that and only having that interaction twice. That's it. That was it. So when I came out, it was like amazing. Like the amount of support that I got, like the second I got out of the hospital, I mean, the club rolled deep. Everyone was deep. Everyone was there. You know what I mean? It was insane. And then we do this whole thing, and then I end up riding again. And then when I ended up riding again, the club naturally sees it, and they're like, "Oh my God, dude, no way." And so when that happened, they offered to fly me to Brazil. And that's where the headquarters of said club is. Right. So then I flew down, and we were able to set a double world record down there doing the biggest pack, one patch, one pack. You know what I mean? And I got to be able to be the lead charge of that.
Nice.
And to be the lead charge of the very head pack of that. We rode from Sao Paulo, Brazil to Rio de Janeiro, right? Nice. So that's a 6-hour ride. And it was actually longer than that because of how long it is. You're going pretty slow in a pack that big, actually.
Yeah.
This pack is over 6,000, wow. So yeah, it's one pack, one club, and that's not even counting the people that didn't actually sign up on the whole thing in the club. Those are a lot of those guys don't even know how to use the technology down there. You know what I mean? So they probably didn't even sign up.
Yeah. So Danny says, no, but Mike definitely walks in circles.
Yeah, no, I can walk in circles sometimes. It's evident. It's okay. I accept it.
And Corey, he does have an Instagram and YouTube. It's in the description of this video. I got the links right there. You click each link, will bring you right to his Instagram and right to his YouTube channel.
Appreciate
Definitely
that.
want to check that out. Corey came down. First time I met him face to face is he came down and helped me do the motor swap on my lowrider S.
Oh, right on.
And
Right
we did
on.
it live.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's super cool.
We had the motor.
That was like the first interaction was being able to do that.
Yep. And
Wow.
when you watch the video, you would swear he and I worked together for years.
Yeah, like it was natural, totally
Yeah.
natural.
And we
Yep.
had the motor out in 41 minutes.
Oh, you guys are trying to play for you guys are trying to set world records over here, I see.
No,
Okay.
no.
No,
We're
it's
just,
cool. Cool.
right?
All
Time is
right.
money, man. Time is money.
Hey, that's why I only waited 28 days. We had to get back on the bike.
Yeah.
That's right.
It says the government will take away your disability benefits if you're amputated limb if you decide to continue to serve.
To serve. So if you were to serve, yes. And
Yeah.
essentially the same thing goes, by the way, SNS, same thing would go for anybody in my situation as well. If I were to get even a normal job, let's say, and let's say I was totally disabled, couldn't do it, but let's say I did get manage some sort of job, any W-2, anything that would go into my direct deposit or anything like that, all of a sudden you would lose all your disability. Boom, gone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And not that I don't even have disability, by the way. I'm still fighting it in court. Like I'm still waiting for my court date, by the way.
What do they want
You know
to
what I
prove
mean?
that you lost a leg?
Right. It's like what you want me, you tell me 13 times I've been declined by the state of California and the government, right? So federally. So I'm like, there's no way, you know what I mean? There's no way that you guys are going to decline me out of all people. There's no way. And so they have all the way up to this point. And so up until, let's say I fought it by myself for about a year and almost 2 years, almost. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to get a lawyer.
Yep.
Got myself a lawyer. And now it's been just over a year fighting it. And it's been hectic, you know what I mean? And because they use COVID to push back everything ungodly, you know what I mean? Just sending, I'm still waiting. Like, what are people supposed to do? And like, what if I actually could not get around? What if like I have to have a hustle here, you know? There has to be money made in order for the family to eat here, you know? So no one can live off of zero income.
No, there's
you
bills
know,
gotta
so
be paid.
I'm theoretically
Groceries
I'm
aren't
3
free.
years in. 3 years in, and it's like, damn, I'm still fighting this damn thing.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks. It sucks. It's actually it's been probably the biggest pain in the ass that I've dealt with during this whole ordeal is that
caused you more pain than the actual
everything else. Right. Well, I'll tell you what, the pain itself, I've never been in so much freaking pain in my life. So they hit me originally when I lost my leg, especially because I never passed out. They hit me with 2 doses of fentanyl. When they finally got to me with the ambulance and all that, they hit me with the first dose, right? And that first dose felt like water. Didn't feel it. I'm like, there was zero pain reduction. They hit me again. Felt nothing again. They're like, sir, will you tap you out? Because I'm looking at them like I'm sitting here out of 1,000 out of 10 pain, you know what I mean? And no pain reduction.
Wow.
There was nothing they could do at that point. They said, if we put any more in your body, we're going to kill you.
Yeah. Jesus. So Oakley wants to know why I named the bike Spaceball. Well, it comes down to when I ordered the 131, I was going to leave it alone. And then as I was waiting for the motor to come in, I'm doing a lot of research on cams and everything and watched a lot of Blockhead videos because he built a 131. And I'm proud to say with him using regular pump gas and not the ethanol, I actually make better numbers than.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And well, on regular pump gas, he's making like 150, 154 horse and torque. 93 octane out of the pump, I'm making 154 horse, 165 foot-pounds of torque.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I love it. So
Yeah.
then I started ordering, cams and 70 millimeter intakes with the tunnel ram intake and the chain drive, the compensator delete. My wife's like, "Oh my God, what do you want to
How
go
much
lights?"
money are you gonna go through? Yeah.
No, she's going, "What are you going lights? What do you want to do? Go light speed on this?" I'm like, "Nah, too slow." She goes, "All right, you want to go plaid? Okay, Spaceball." And then that's how
That's ever since then. Boom. Yep.
it got named Spaceball. I was also talking to Trask about getting a turbo put on that bike.
Nice.
And then I
That's a lot of
realized,
that's a lot of money right there.
yeah, 10 grand for the turbo. That's a
Yep.
no. Sorry, I don't have that kind of money.
Yep.
And then I'm realizing, well, if I put a turbo on it the way I ride, I'll be rebuilding that motor every winter, and I just don't want to do that.
At least, at bare minimum.
Yeah,
At bare
I
minimum. You'd
don't
be
want to
lucky to
do
make it
all
a
that.
season.
Yep. So I really don't want to do that. So hey, it is what it is. So
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
it got Spaceball.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. We all have our interesting names, you know what I mean, for
Yep.
bikes or whatever, you know. There
I
comes a
had
story behind it all.
I had a custom derby cover made. It says Spaceballs, the bike.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So,
I like that.
I'm one day I'm waiting for a phone call from Mel Brooks going, "You can't use that name."
Yeah, right, right. He comes in, hell yeah. So, nope. No go. Yep.
Oh man. So that's how that happened. And enough about me. Let's talk more about Mike. This is Mike's night.
No,
It's all
no,
about Mike.
absolutely. It's been an honor to be able to be able to speak on all these platforms and all these people I've been able to run across as me and you were speaking about, I've been able to have these immense amount of genuine connections because of this. And this doesn't just go for the content creator, right? This goes for you guys in the side chat as well. I get to, learn a lot about you guys. I get to learn, and I'm really involved with a lot of your guys' life. I talk to a lot of you guys off this live, off the whole thing. I talk to a lot of you guys. I stay in contact, and that's something that I really cherish. The people that are around me, the people that watch and hang out and all that. Like, it means the freaking world. The people that show that kind of support selflessly, whether they like the content or not. Maybe they're just doing it to support me, or whatever, but I'm just glad that people are enjoying it, period.
Yeah.
Getting some sort of value.
So, and that's my whole biggest thing is, whenever I put out a video, my biggest hope is somebody gets a value out of it.
Right.
At the minimum, I'm creating a video diary of my adventures on two wheels. Because motorcycles isn't a hobby for me; it's my life. It's who I am.
Right.
Like
right.
you.
Yes.
Tell me I can't ride a motorcycle.
It's
no. Put a bullet in my heart.
Exactly. That's they gave me a 12% chance of even walking again, let alone being able to ride a 800-pound bike again. You know what I mean? And for me, it wasn't about that. It was like I didn't care about that number. Like, they told me that, but I didn't care. I'm like, I'm going to do it my way. I don't care what you think is going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and I'm going to do just fine. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep. And Steve is breaking your balls. He says, "You ever think
always does?
Maybe drink some Miracle Grow."
I'll work on it. Until then, I'll stick with the Coca-Cola. All right.
I'm drinking Miller Lights right here tonight. So.
There you go. At least it's not a Bud Light,
Yep. You could put out videos of you finishing, would still support you. Right on.
Hey, Steve, I very much appreciate you, man. And what's funny is I have actually live streamed me fishing before. So it's funny that you say that. I've done it multiple times. I used to do actual live streaming on Twitch. It was funny. I would do these nights where I would go out and I would go fishing, and I would set up my phone and everything and stream from there, and just be out there, whether it be me and a buddy or by myself, whatever. I didn't care. I was all about it.
No. See, every time I go fishing, it's already filleted and ready to go.
Nice. See, that must be nice.
The fish market or the grocery store.
No, not for me. I worked out in
Guaranteed
the
to
water
catch.
my entire life pretty much, you know.
Yep.
So that was as a Southern California native, right? You know, you naturally got to be a
Yep.
water guy, you know.
I actually had family in San Diego, and they
Right
moved
on.
out of San Diego, went to San Francisco,
Oh, why
um,
would they go there? Why would they go from San Diego to San Francisco?
because my aunt was a real estate agent.
Oh, okay. All right.
She
So
made more money.
hopefully I was about to say hopefully it was an investment deal, you
What she
know,
made
like
a month and selling real estate in San Francisco, she'd make a year in San Diego.
right, right. Now if more money's to be made and the opportunity's there to really make that money,
Checks and
absolutely get it.
balances, you know?
Checks and balances. Hey, I'll go where the money's at, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And her daughter, my cousin, actually worked in the governor's office back in
Wow.
15, 16.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's
we had
that's pretty wild.
a heated discussion on Facebook about the presidential election, and
Wow.
all her friends were sitting there going, well, at least he's taking the time to read,
And
understand, and comment educatedly about
right.
what he's saying. And, and she says, well, just because. I said to her, I says, you know what? If you want to continue this conversation, jump on a plane, fly over here to the Middle East with me, grab a weapon, stand a post, and we'll just continue this discussion.
Hey, it can go that way.
Yep. And she
Yep.
never did.
No, of course not. Of course not. No,
Yep.
people ain't gonna be about it. No, they don't want to take it that far.
Yep.
I like living in San Francisco. Oh, dude, I don't know why you would like to live in San Francisco. Sheesh. Sheesh. Trump Reaper. I don't know, man. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, Thumper says $20 is $20.
Hey, $20 is $20.
Yeah. Do you plan on going to any rallies this coming year?
No, I do not attend any rallies.
Okay.
Zero. I don't attend because of a couple of things. First of all, the first thing you guys got to remember, the whole reason why I have an amputated leg is because of a drunk driver. Nothing fucking pisses me off more than when a bunch of dudes get together and drink heavily and then they all get on their fucking bikes and drive around the fucking city like they're goon squad. You know, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why they would need to go that way with that. I don't know why. I don't know.
Yep. See, for me, when I go to, like, for instance, Daytona, I stay at the Cackleberry campground, which is basically a smaller rally within the rally.
Right. And I know those smaller rallies are way nicer and stuff like that.
Well,
and it's way more
not really
organized.
nicer. There's one rule, and the rule is there are no rules, and cops aren't even allowed on it because it's private property, and just go on. But I go out, I spend the day out all over Daytona and Orlando and have a great time. As soon as the sun starts to set, I'm back at the Cackleberry, listening to music. I'm drinking. That's where I'm staying. So I just stumble back to my buddy's RV.
Yep.
And that's it.
I wish it. See, and that's how simple it could be, but people just cannot get that through their thick skull. They got to sit there and drink in between every stop or whatever. And it's like, all right, dude, like, I understand we're bikers. I understand we stop at bars. I understand we stop at like these places, but we don't have to drink every time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to get hammered, and especially when it comes to these people that don't know how to, to me, I'm not going to say not ride in a pack, but because they ride differently than club guys. And I think that, but riding club style is so much different than riding at, something like that, a rally. To me, it's so disorganized that it literally makes me anxious. It gives me anxiety. And it's like, I don't even want to be a part of this. So,
and that's why when I go, it's basically my wife and I, or it's my brother Mike and I, and we go and we do our things. And as soon as the sun sets, I'm either back at the RV or back in the hotel, and I'm just relaxing, chilling, having a good time, doing what I want to do. And, if I know if I'm going to be somewhere for a few hours, Yeah, I'll stop and have a beer
Right.
at the rally because I'm going to be there a few hours.
Yeah.
And, by the time I
That's
get on my,
timing your shit out. And that's being responsible. You know when they say drink responsibly?
yes,
That's literally being responsible.
yeah. And
That's
I've
what
done
that
these
means. You know what I mean?
when I was in the club. We'd do these bar crawls and pub runs and
Yep.
all that. Uh, when you have multiple clubhouses in the same club and you're going clubhouse to clubhouse to clubhouse, I'll have a beer. Okay, next clubhouse or next bar, I'm having a ginger ale
Yep.
or
A
a
water or
ginger ale
some or
cranberry.
Coke.
You know,
Yep.
you know, that's it. I mean,
That's what you're supposed to do, and people get carried away because, hey, our junk gets this much bigger when we're on a motorcycle, and it gets this much bigger when we're wearing a vest, and especially it gets this much bigger if you're wearing patches, so it very easily can blow your own ego up.
so Razor Road says he needs replacement front head gaskets. Looking for recommendations above and beyond the Screaming Eagle one. Any thoughts?
I don't.
Kinetic makes a really good gasket kit. Contact the guys over at Fuel Moto. They'll be able to get you the right gaskets for your 131.
Damn.
Other than the Harley stuff.
Yeah, and that's got to be super ultra expensive.
Well, I mean, when you're talking big displacement, it money is just stupid for anything.
Yep. Yep.
My 70 millimeter intake system from air cleaner to the heads, that was $1,700.
Yeah.
You're
And
talking
it's like,
stupid money.
it's just like, wow, am I really going to see this money? Like, come on, man. That's a lot of dough on one
Yeah,
thing.
but I wanted to see how much horsepower and torque I could build out of a naturally aspirated bike. Not for content, not for
That was your own
anything.
personal goal.
Right. My personal goal and I said it a lot in my videos, my goal is 150 horse.
Wow. That's a big one to hit. That's why I said 140 earlier, because hitting 140 and already is a lot.
Well,
it's like too much, way too much, in my opinion.
Believe it or not, with a 117 motor, with the right cam, you could hit 130 horse.
Wow.
With the right cam. And the cost of a stage 2 for dollar to horsepower ratio, it's a lot better.
I bet.
Than doing stage 4 because your dollar to horsepower ratio is so
much skyrocket. I bet you go from like pennies basically on the dollar to like literally hundreds of dollars per.
Well, give you an idea. A stage 2 will cost roughly about $4,000 with labor. If you find a good reputable shop that won't rape you on the labor,
right,
to $4,500. Where now I do all my own labor, so I don't consider it into the cost and materials on my build. I'm $16,000.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'll go from, $4,000 to up to 130 horse, or 16,000 to get north of 150.
God. Yeah. That's a lot of dough to do that.
Well, that's not just the performance upgrades in the motor. That's included in the performance upgrades in the brakes, the final drive.
Yeah, you can't have normal brakes on shit like that, right? I mean, you got to have upgraded Brembos or what? I don't know what the heck you're using.
Harley's come with Brembo brakes.
Well, what do you use at that point? Because I have no idea. Like, I don't know brakes like that, to be quite honest. I don't.
Right.
So I'm sure there's like different race levels and stuff.
Yeah, I talked to the guys at Lindell and I talked to the guys at Galfer, and because that's what they do. They do brakes. They know brakes.
Right. That's what they do.
I was telling them what my projections are and what I'm building, and what do I need to do for brakes. And they says, look, your calipers are fine, your master cylinders are fine. I would recommend you go with our rotors with our brake pads. We know they will work and they will give you the braking that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference was what it cost me from 3 rotors from Galfer was the cost of 1 rotor from Lindell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a mega difference.
Yeah. So, budget wise at that point it was already blown. I says, well, I'll go with Galfer. And, I was talking to him again down in Daytona. I said, if you really want to step up your game on your braking, we recommend you upgrade our brake hoses. And, I'm trying to negotiate with them to
Of course.
give to me this stuff so I could put it on my channel and say,
Sure.
hey, look, this is what you guys need. And we're at the point where they're talking discounts at this point, and I'm looking for, what I want free.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, forget the discount, man. Like, put towards it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Put towards it. It's a lot of dough to put together by yourself.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is when you build these big horsepower, you have to do things like brakes, your final drive, anything north of 150. If you're gentle on the throttle, then you don't need to go to a chain. But if you have this big motor, why be gentle on the throttle?
Yeah, I was about to say I would snap that belt so quick. You know what I mean? You would have to go straight to chain.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I went straight to change. I got rid of the compensator because that's like an additional clutch slipping.
Yep.
And it's a direct drive from the motor to the trans, from the trans to the wheel now.
Right.
Any more direct would be shaft.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't get more direct.
No. So, and now the only thing holding the bike back is suspension, but that's going to get taken care of in March when I'm down in Daytona with Suspension Technologies.
Nice. Nice.
So
and
I'm going
suspension, man.
A shameless plug here. If you guys want suspension technology, please reach out to rideh2.com. Hells will definitely help you out and get you your suspension that you need. And in my opinion, I've had every flavor of Legend. Suspension Technologies, hands down, is better than Legend. Progressive can't even hold their jock strap.
Mm-hmm.
And stock is just garbage.
Right. Yeah. Riding stock, man. That's rough.
Yeah.
Forget that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that should be really changed out. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to do bars, this, that, the other. No, that.
Anytime, Dan, reach out to me, call me. We'll have a nice conversation. Plan about an hour on the phone, and we'll figure out what you need for stage 2.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
And figure out the right cam to use and all that. Yep. Absolutely.
That's a lot of people don't understand this. I want to put a cam on my bike, and my buddy says I should get this cam. Okay.
Everyone gets stuck on like, oh, it's this big one right here. Boom. Let's get the biggest one. Well, dude, just because of this doesn't mean it's going to be giving you the best numbers.
Yep. I mean, a lot of people don't understand is when you go to select your cam, having the biggest cam isn't always the best for you.
Right. It could be bad for your riding style, your riding habits.
Yep.
You can end up blowing your motor if you do too much bore work. I'm not talking about stage 2. I'm talking 3 and up. Yep. You know what I mean? If you're your riding style really plays a role in stage 3 and 4s, stuff like that. I would stop at a stage 2, honestly.
Yeah.
That's me. Like I've never needed anything more than a cam. Ever. Right. But that's just, I'm not trying to sit here and race either.
Right. Well,
I'm not trying to break records.
Right. I mean, that's why I built Spaceballs to see how much horsepower I could get out of a naturally aspirated motor. And I went with the Harley Davidson crate motor, but then I voided the warranty before I went in the bike because I took from the cam bearing all the way to the valve springs.
Yep.
Cost them. Well, I kept the cam because you never know if somebody might need that cam.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's money.
Yeah. So Ray wants to know what motor I have. It's the Screaming Eagle crate motor 131.
I'm basic 103. Yeah,
which is a
I'm
good
103
motor.
gang. Yeah, I love 103s, man. They've actually treated me nice.
Yeah.
You've treated me nice.
Yeah.
And I know I like the sound of them. They just sound good to me.
Yeah.
I might be biased. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. People always assume that's better. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Bigger.
Everyone's like, oh, I want to get this.
That's my wife. Trigger's
Or they
not
saw
there.
this YouTube video and they're like, they don't have the same bike or even sometimes the same engine. And they're like, oh, I want this cam. What the hell are you doing? It's not going to even work right. Like, you got to look at your numbers, man.
Yep.
Yep,
Corey's
that
got
is right
a
there.
103 with a stage 2. I actually did his stage 2 live on
Wow.
my channel. He came down from Massachusetts, and for me saying thank you to him, for coming down, helping me in my motor swap. I sat there and said, "Bring it down."
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. I need to stage 2 my bike now. You know what I mean? That would be
Yeah.
nice. I had a stage 2. I had a stage 2 on the first bike.
Well, Mike, all you got to do is, jump on the bike, ride coast to coast, and we'll get it done.
Right. No problem. Hey, I can do that.
Yeah, we'll hang out, have a good time.
That's right. Yep. Why can't you just meet me in the middle? You can't just meet me in the middle. We can't just ride.
I'm not dragging my toolbox and my lift.
I'm expecting the lift and everything, We can do this on motorcycles, and you have to show up on a motorcycle.
Can I have a support vehicle?
Like maybe Mini Cooper size.
No,
no.
My
All right. I make the whole trek myself. All right, I'll make it there. I'll make it there.
We know enough people across the country. We got places for you to stay.
That's right. That's right. Hey, that's the one also really cool thing, man, is again with the genuine network thing is because of that, it's put me in a very amazing spot of being able to talk with all these people, not only talk with, but literally communicate, because communication and conversation is two different things, right? And when you get to that level with these people, you really get these connections that now they're like part of you, like whether they're daily tapping in with you or weekly or once in a while coming in, it doesn't matter. They're checking up on you or vice versa or whatever. And I love checking up on everyone else too, and that's something that's why I'm very active, like on social media. I'll answer pretty much everyone's DMs as long as you ain't threatening me or something like that. I'll answer you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you threaten me,
I respond to every comment that comes on YouTube or every DM and Instagram or Facebook. I always respond because you know what? If you took the time to send me a message, I better take the time to send you a message back, because that would be disrespectful. And I have no reason to give that person or any person that disrespect unless they earned it.
No, you're right. And even like, for instance, like video wise, like what you were just saying, that like I just had a video go viral on me on YouTube channel right here, and it hit like 600,000 already.
Wow.
And that video, and I've responded to every single comment. You know what I mean? And that's an example of right there. Like they say, oh, well, you get those crazy numbers, you won't be able to respond anymore. No, yes, you can. It's a matter of you giving the time to do it, giving the care and patience enough to do it. I will sit there and make an evening out of it. I will sit there and make an afternoon out of it or whatever. I will take the time to read your guys' comments. Always.
Yeah. And Oakley's right. There is a mathematical equation, believe it or not. Yep. Mathematics comes into play when you select your cam. First thing you want to ask somebody is, where do you ride? And this is where you have to be honest with yourself and me. Where do you ride? When you're cruising down the highway, what RPM range are you normally at? Are you at 3,000? Are you at 2,500? Are you at 4,000? And I'm talking in top gear, fifth or sixth gear if you got a 5 or a 6 speed, because that starts the conversation. You have to be honest. And then the next question is, do you want torque or do you want horsepower? And a lot of people go, what's the difference?
Oh, wow.
The easiest way I could explain it is horsepower is how fast you hit that wall. Torque is how fast you hit that wall and drag that wall with you.
Right.
And believe it or not, 9 out of 10 people who sat there thought they want a horsepower cam actually sat there and said, no, I guess a torque cam is what I want, because when I want to crack that throttle, I'm going to be put in my seat and I want it to just go.
Right.
If you're constantly in the upper RPMs, I'm talking 4,500 to 6,200 RPMs, then you're into a horsepower cam, because that's when you're really going to take advantage of that cam.
Yeah, I don't ride that high. I shift around 4,400, 4,500. You know what I mean?
And then
That's
you
my
normally
range.
cruise between 3,000 and 3,800.
3,000. Yep, that's my exact range. Yep.
Hey, we have very similar riding styles.
There you go. There you go. Then you must know.
How do I know that?
Yep. You knew exactly the range,
Yeah. So, a torque cam is where you want to be, because torque cams come in about, depending on which cam you get, come in about, mid
earlier
to high 2000s and start to fall off right around 4,500.
Right.
Which is fine, because guess what?
I'm shifting there anyways, for me.
You're hardly ever there anyways.
I'm shifting at that point, so it's good for me.
Yeah. So even Oakley agrees. 99% of the people want torque, not horsepower.
Yep. That's exactly what I would get.
Yeah. So, there's a whole mathematical equation. And once you figure out, okay, your riding style, horsepower or torque, okay, now we can start looking at cams. Okay, do you want a horsepower cam? Do you want a torque cam? Do you want a bolt-in cam? Do you want to mess around with the labor of changing valve springs?
Right.
If you're there changing valve springs, might as well do the seals since you're there. And you can really open up a can of worms, and then the price
easily
go up, and material and labor. And someone says, I get it done for $2,500. I'm like, well, for $2,500, you're getting a bolt-in cam and you're getting lifters. And that's it. If that's what you want to do, we could do it. But I'm going to tell you.
But that's the minimum.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, cam bearing you should do.
Right.
And if you don't do an oil pump or cam plate, then you definitely should do something with your clutch, whether it's a high performance clutch or a variable rate pressure plate.
Yep. I definitely wouldn't want to stay with the same clutch I got now.
Right.
If I stepped up.
On Spaceball, I'm still running the stock clutch.
Really?
Yes.
How does it feel? Do you feel it like slip at all? Do you feel?
Nope.
What do you feel?
Nope, really? Because it's an M8. It's got 3 springs in it. I took those out. I put in 30% stiffer.
Oh.
And I added in a variable rate pressure plate. Those 3 springs and pressure plate was a lot less expensive than doing a high performance clutch.
How much extra work was that, do you think?
It actually saved me a lot of work, because all I had to do is take the derby cover off. I didn't have to drain the primary. I didn't have to pull the primary off. Well, that was all off anyways. But when you're doing a stage 2 for somebody, you don't have to do all that. You could just
take off, that little thing, and then you can get right into that access.
Do what you got to do, and then put it back together.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. It's a trip. It's a trip for sure.
Yeah.
Man, someone's got a trike. That's awesome. Old VW Trump Reaper, dude. Hell yeah, man. That's what's up. That's the original trike, man. Those built up ones with the VW engines in it.
My brother, who I told you had the hook, had one.
See, that's badass.
And he had a high performance motor built for it, and he'd crack that throttle, and that front end come right up to 1 o'clock.
I'm sure it would. Absolutely. Those things, they can be, you put a VW engine in one of those things, and they're fast.
I was playing around with the idea. You're going to like this. When I first started my shop, I wanted to go to Sturgis and get in the biker build-off competition. And when you do that, you have to submit your application with an outline what you want to build. So my outline was a rigid frame with a 300 back tire, Springer front end, powered by a Volkswagen turbo diesel engine.
Wow.
That's a 600 horsepower or 600 foot-pound of torque motor, with a dark side back tire on it. And I was going to have the whole thing done in Rhino liner because it's diesel. And this was Sturgis's response from what was it? I want to say not the Iron Horse.
Probably telling you it's impossible.
No, they said, Hey, man, sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a great good night, Mike. Sounds like a great build, man, but your shop isn't that big or well known enough. We don't think you'd draw a crowd.
See, I hate when I hate when things come down to numbers, man. And that's I really am over that. I hate that. It's cliche as fuck. I really do hate it.
Well,
Numbers is, though it's understandable why like companies that's what they're looking for when they're paying or giving money away. They want views, right? Like that's what
no,
they
I was
want.
paying to be in the show.
But that's exactly what I'm getting at. It's like, yo, but I'm doing something different here. I'm trying to be in the show. It's like I'm not even asking for anything. Like I'm trying to just be in the show. And that's what is preventing me, not my work, not my work ethic, not any of this, but you basing it off of the name or how many numbers this has got. That's dumb to me. Like
Yeah.
if a man qualifies for a job, he qualifies whether he's got this number or this number. It doesn't matter.
Yep. And my response to them was, well, I remember back in the day, Jesse James wasn't that big, or Billy Lane wasn't that big. Indian Leary wasn't that big, and their bikes were in your show.
Yep.
And I guess they didn't respond to that. And I guess they said, well, we helped build their names up and we got nothing out of it. No, you do get something out of it, because guess what? Year after year, they keep coming, and people keep coming and paying to see the show because of them. So you are
Right.
getting something out of it. So I just scrapped that whole idea because I was pissed off about it.
I would be too. I would be too. And it's like, all right, well, cool. That's the way you guys want to play the game. Then cool. All right. You ain't got to tell me twice. It's cool. You ain't gonna accept me now. Then trust me. When I make it, I'm not gonna be doing you any favors. For the people that were there for me that wanted to support me along the way,
Yep.
genuinely, especially when I'm down, at the very bottom, right? It's like those people that were with me are always going to have like that emergency helicopter, ladder for them to just come flying up with me. There'll always be an open invitation for them, always, because those kind of people, like, there's something special with people like that,
If they
that want to
ever
support you from the beginning,
and be,
especially.
let's say this platform takes off, and I get 100,000 subs or whatever, and they reach out to me, says, hey, we'd love for you to come out, do a meet and greet, blah blah blah. I won't say no. I'd sit there, I'll let you know. I'll let them sweat it out for a while.
Right. Yep. I'll let you know.
When I got contacted last year by a company that wanted me to go out to Milwaukee for the 120th, they asked me not to say their name, but they do have a very similar logo as me, and I said absolutely, and they flew me out. They put me up in a hotel. I didn't ask for any of this. They got me a rental car. It was an economy. So when I got there, I upgraded to a Cadillac, TX6.
Nice.
I got a pimp.
Yeah.
Pimping ain't easy, but it definitely ain't cheap.
There you go.
And when I got the bill for the hotel, the printout, it was $2,500 for the 2 nights. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Wow.
What an amazing gift I got. And, I went out and all I did was video everything, tag them in the videos.
Right.
And, all good and said. They enjoyed it. They because I gave a different perspective.
Yeah. And that's something that you got to find, your own set of values, right? The thing is everyone is always basing themselves off of how someone else is doing or whatever. And I hate that, because that shows that you're not focused on yourself first. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put yourself first. You cannot be like comparing yourself to someone else. When you do that, you're looking down upon yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be like, oh, you be all about yourself. No, it's not that. It's I don't know, man. It's not necessarily even a confidence thing either. It's just caring about yourself, I guess.
Yeah. It's taking care of you.
Yes, very much so.
And I've one thing I learned from being in the life that I carried over to this and everything else I do in my life is stay humble.
Right. Yep.
You know, when I
Absolutely.
was in the life, I didn't have to go around telling everybody who I was and you know what we were and who.
Right.
No, if you knew, you knew, and if you didn't
Exactly.
know, you could read it because it was on my clothing.
Yep. Yep. I have a lot of people that ask me, you know, like, "Oh, dude, like they've known me for years, but they didn't know that I played in music." And they're like, "Dude, why didn't you tell me that?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you something that you didn't ask about." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and brag about something that I did in my past. Why would
Right.
I do that? Like, if it's all documented anyways, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the proof is in the pudding. If you want to find out, you can find out. You know,
Bingo.
but I don't know. Some people have that insecurity, obviously, and
Yep.
they're not secure with themselves, so they're a little insecure, which is understandable.
Yeah. Which is a shame because you
Which
know.
is it is. I mean, I would hope, you know, that's why I say the things I say, you know, like I want people to be bettering their own mindset too, you know.
See that we're solving problems tonight. Ray's
There
like,
you
I
go.
just ordered the gaskets from Fuel Moto.
And
They
that
are
is
my
that's one of the one of the secret sauces, by the way, is by answering a certain question that is searchable.
yeah.
So that's one of the secret sauces on the YouTube stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
I sit there and I try and help everybody out. Actually, Ray called me up one day and was asking me about a camp, and I spent time on the phone. I'm very
That's
happy.
awesome.
Another subscriber of mine, I'm sure he's a subscriber of yours too, HDAV Traveler Jack.
Nice. Very
He
nice.
called me
Yep.
up one day out of the blue, and you know, on Instagram through the phone chat, and I answered. He was like, "Oh my God, you answered!" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?
Right. It's like, yeah, of course, I'm sitting here doing
I'm
X,
a
Y, and Z,
human
whatever.
being,
Right.
you know."
Exactly. I've had those interactions before, and it kind of puts me in a little bit of a trip because I'm like, yo, whoa, whoa, I promise I'm no one special, man. Like, relax, man. You know,
Well,
we're
to me,
just
you are somebody special because you're
well,
always
I
putting
do
out a
appreciate
positive
that.
vibe.
Well, I
You know,
appreciate that. But
you
and
know.
also here's real life too, you know, and I keep everything real in the aspect of everything isn't always grand all the time. And that's okay as well. And not everything is going to be a boulevard of unbroken green lights. I promise you. You know, if you think that it's going to be delirious world for you, you just at that point life is going to get really hard for you. You
Yeah,
know, it's okay. It's you know, there's times that we're going through hard and that we've got to deal with the things that we've got to deal with, and that's okay to do too. And I always tell other people too. They go, "Oh, well, I saw your video, you know, and I saw that you got back on the bike, you know, within 28 days, for instance." But that can also work against people that can go, well, that's, you know, I'm looking at myself now and I've been amputated only for or I've been amputated for 5 months now and I've been wanting to get back on a bike but I can't or it's too painful. And I'm like, well, you get back on that bike when you can, when you want to and are able to. You don't get back on that bike when other people tell you to. You get back on there when you're ready. You know, don't feel because I got on it so damn quick means that you have to. And that's the same thing. It's just showing that it's possible, guys. It's just showing
yeah,
it's possible
that's it. Because you know your circumstances and how you recover is different from everybody else.
every single time. Every you could have essentially the exact same injury and you're going to have two different mindsets and two different results from that exact injury because it's going to you never know how much it affects that person. You have no idea how much anything hurts anybody else other than what you know your own pain to be. Because pain is relative to what we know, right? Because my definition of pain has changed over time. I can promise you that. You know, my definition of pain has definitely changed over the
Yeah,
course of years because I still deal with mega amount of pain to this very day. You know, people get that misconstrued as well. You know, I have pain that it's not only just during the day and when I'm walking around and all that stuff. You wouldn't guess. by the way I walk or anything like that. But yeah, it can be very painful. And there are very painful mornings, there are very painful nights, there are sleepless nights. The first year and a half, I only slept an hour and a half, 2 hours per night. Um, a lot of my, most of the time to this very day, every night, my whole leg will jump in bed because it's trying to it's basically like the nerves that they're dead end nerves that aren't there anymore, but they're trying to reach for something that is not there. And that's super painful.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's extremely painful. Now, a lot of people get, let's say they have diabetes or something like that and they get their leg amputated. Well, that's at the drawing board, right? That's at the cutting board. That's what we call it. That's at the cutting board. So that means you're at the hospital and they do it right. They cauterize basically each nerve ending perfectly and all that. By the time I got to the hospital, my shit was all shot to hell. It was all dead, all shot. I mean, I had died 4 times by then.
Oh,
It
geez.
was rough. Yeah. It was really rough.
Wow. Hey, what's up, Nori? Gliding on Twos is here. He's actually making his way to the Lone Star Rally as we speak.
Very nice. Very nice.
Left North Carolina and on his way down to Lone Star Rally. That's awesome. Have
That
a good
is
trip.
awesome.
Be safe, brother. And we'll chat soon. Yeah. So let me ask you, how far are you from Sonoma, California?
Man, let me punch it in for you because I don't actually know the answer to that because I don't go there very often. 88 miles.
Oh, that's not far.
Uh-uh.
Because I want to get out there and I want to visit Factory 47.
Oh yeah, those are all my homies. All these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I was on the phone with Factory 47. Actually, email with them. I was going to do a handlebar comparison video, and everybody was on board until it was time to ship.
Of course.
And I Factory 47's KST, Tab Performance, and LA Choppers were all going to send me handlebars, and they're like, "You're not going to mount these or anything?" Is no, I'm not. My comparison is going to be on finish, construction, and price.
Mm.
And I says, I'm going to send a Borsco up into the handlebars. We're going to look at the welds on the inside. That's part of the construction. We're going to look at the fit and finish, everything,
Wow.
and compare them that way. And everybody was all about it because nobody has done that.
Right.
Until it came time to ship, and nobody ever shipped.
Of course. Yep.
Well, no, I did get LA Choppers, and I got a set of I forget the name. It was a set I bought for myself, so I threw them into the mix, and I forget the name of them. Oh well, but nobody else jumped in. Nobody else, so that shot that video down for now.
Yeah, until I mean, it can always happen in the future. That's the whole thing is though it may not happen now, and sometimes because trust me, I have been told no on all of this shit for 15 years straight, basically. Like it's a no from basically everyone. It's very, very, very hard in the beginning, especially, but it shows if you can stand the test of time for sure. Because I know that I basically streamed to a big fat donut, which is 0 people, for dude, it seemed like a year straight at least. You know what I mean? And before I started seeing any sort of maybe 2, 3, 4 people consistently viewing me, and dude, you have to put in that kind of work and time and ethic and mind you, I'm doing 8-hour streams, by the way, but over there, I'm not doing 1 hour, 2-hour shows. I'm doing 8-hour streams.
Wow.
Where it's nonstop. And I was doing 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. That was my schedule every single night.
Wow.
That was off of work. Yeah.
That's
Anyways.
awesome.
Yeah. It was pretty rad.
SS Contracty, thank you for sharing out my YouTube and my Instagram. I appreciate it. I take it he's one of your admins.
Yes,
he's
he
on
is.
it tonight. Thank you. I
Very much.
appreciate it. You rock, dude. I've seen him in other side chats, and
That's my brother right there.
What's that?
That's my brother right there. He definitely puts in a lot of work. So I got all these people that are amazing in here, and they treat everyone in here with just the utmost love and respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And people, it's so cool, that we almost have like this like system that works by itself without anyone telling each other what to do or anything. It's like it just kind of just naturally works nicely that way, And I think it's a beautiful thing, seeing people come together like this. And that's something that I talk about often is I don't care whether people like to admit it or not. And this is a special for the motorcycle club scene, but the new set is online. I don't care what anyone says. People meet online and then they meet in person. You know what I mean? That's the way it works.
I knew a club. I'm really going to blow you away with this one. During the pandemic, some of them were so scared about, getting COVID.
Right.
They actually held their churches via Zoom.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. That's a first I've ever heard of that, but that doesn't fucking surprise me at this point.
And I'm sitting there going, that's not too smart because it's recorded.
Right. Like why would you want to have a private conversation with technology around? I remember we used to have a basket. You know what I mean? Like, where's the basket, dude? Like, you're not supposed to have anything here, let alone we're going to be talking club or inner dynamics of a club over the internet. Yeah, forget that. You know what I mean? Not because we're saying things, something that people shouldn't be hearing. It's just none of anybody's else's business.
It's a private organization for
exactly. You got to be private. It's invite only, motherfucker.
And just because you were invited doesn't mean you get to sit in that meeting, because you have to be a hang around. You have to be a prospect. And if you make it to get patched, then you can sit on that meeting.
And then, even then, that's when the real work starts. When you get patched in, it's hard as hell to get your patch, but it's way harder to keep it.
Yep. Well, when I got patched in, and I know I don't talk about club stuff at all.
Right. No, we can keep it broad.
This could be pretty specific. I got patched in on a Monday night, and that Friday was my bar night. And they said, "It's okay. You're the new patch. It's your bar night Friday night. What are you serving?" I said, how about what you call it? Hot roast beef sandwiches, with cheese and the mushrooms, the onions, and
the whole
all that. And so, okay, fine. And we had a meat slicer. You slice up sandwich meats.
Nice.
So I went out and I bought the raw roasts.
Yep.
And I went to the clubhouse and I cooked all the roasts and seasoned up. One of my brothers came down and helped me. Wow. And then while that was cooking, I was slicing up all the onions, all the mushrooms, slicing up all the peppers, sliced up the cheese. So I bought a block of cheese, and when it got done cooking, we let it sit, and I sat there and I sliced all that up. Meanwhile, another patch walks in and I'm cleaning the slicer. He goes, "What the hell are you doing? We got prospects here for that." I'm like, I made the mess. I could clean up my own house.
Yeah.
He looks at me and goes, "Right answer."
Yep. And it's true. Once a prospect, always a prospect.
You never stop prospecting.
You're not supposed to anyways. You're not supposed to if you remember it.
I understand. Right. Cheesesteaks. Thanks, SS. But there are times when someone's in a position that they can't do that stuff anymore because they're busy doing other things.
True.
So
Very
you
true.
have to look at it in that aspect, and that goes with any part of the job. I mean, someone says, "Hey, these vehicles need to get gas. I need to get these vehicles gas." And it could be the CIO of the company. Well, guess what? Yeah, he might say, "Hey, use a vehicle, but I ain't got time to put gas in it." No, he doesn't, because he's busy doing other things.
Right. Right.
And the
And
low man on the
that's
totem pole got to gas them up. It's sorry, you got to pay your dues.
yep. And that's okay. And that's it teaches you something, man. It teaches you that you're not better than anybody, you know, in the sense of like, hey man, like we don't care if you've been a celebrity. We don't care if you've been anything. There's no special treatment. You got to
Right.
start here and you've got to work up to here if you want to get there. There is
I
no
mean,
special treatment. There's not
case
supposed to
in
be
point.
anyway.
Look at Jason Momoa,
Mhm. Mhm.
big
Yep.
Hollywood star, right?
Yep.
He's part of an organization,
Yep.
and he did the whole process, hang around prospecting, got no special treatment. Same thing with the guy who played Liquid Metal Man at Terminator 2. He was also Colonel Ryan in the unit.
Yep.
He's in another organization that he went through the whole process. You know, if they could go through the whole process,
Yep.
and these are big time, you know, Hollywood celebrities. Ain't no
Absolutely.
reason
And
nobody
there's
else.
the big time Hollywood celebrities that are still active in Hollywood that
Yep.
are in these clubs to this day that people don't even know about.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of radical actually when people find out like certain things, they'll be like, I had no idea. Now I'm not at liberty to say who, but definitely like for instance, the cast of the Mayans, right?
Yeah.
There are
And
a few of them. There's a few of them that are in major 1% clubs. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Same
top
thing
4.
with some of the cast from Sons of Anarchy.
Yep, exactly. And people laugh at that, but it's like, no, hell, they're really about this shit, you know?
Yeah. And I've met Chuck Zito, and I've hung
Right.
out with Chuck Zito.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
he didn't want to know me from Adam. It's a funny story. He didn't want to know me from Adam when I met him. And the next day, I'm hanging around with the local club that's part of his old organization.
Right.
And now he wants to know who I am because I'm getting hugs from them. And I looked at him and said, you don't want to know me yesterday? Guess what? You don't know me today. Go fuck yourself.
Hey, there you
And
go. I
everybody,
like
he
that
looked
answer.
at me and went, really? I'm like, I know
Mhm.
who you are, and I don't give a shit.
Right.
You didn't show me respect yesterday, so go fuck yourself.
That's
And his
exactly
club looked
it.
at me and laughed because they're like, he stands up for himself.
Hey, dude, that's what's up. And people aren't only going to treat you the way that you allow people to treat you. Period.
Exactly.
And you know, that's it. And I don't like that disrespect shit. To me, that's disrespectful. You're going to not give me the time of day or you're fucking going to whatever
Yep.
the day prior, but then the next day you see this, now you want to talk to me. Oh,
Yep.
I see the motive. I see
Yep.
it. You didn't
And
want it for me.
then I
Got
ran
it.
into him in the future, and we talked and we laughed.
Sure.
We had a few beers, and
that's probably a beautiful thing and it turned out to be great. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I mean, like I said, one enemy is 10 too many.
Yep. I agree.
But he knew right from the get-go, I will not put up with disrespect. I will give you respect. And I gave him respect when I first met him. And then when he, you know,
It was
the
that
mud
feeling.
check
Yeah.
comes, now you want to know me? Oh, fuck you.
Right. Right. No, exactly. And that's kind of how I feel with the whole content space because that's where I deal with the most is there's guys that I have reached out to before in the past that have been like where I've reached out and they said that I didn't have the numbers or something like that. And then I have them ironically hitting me back up, the same people that I was asking. They're now
Yep.
asking to be on my shit. I'm like, well, go screw yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what do you mean that you want? I don't do this for content. You know what I mean? I'm actually having legitimate conversations up here.
Yep.
Like, I'm actually talking the shit that not everyone is. I feel that I should be talking to in that full regard that is
Yep.
worthy of talking to like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's what's awesome about conversations like this live that people on the side chat can really gain a lot from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's from you or me.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, my first guest I had on any live when I first started doing lives and was Professional Monkey. And I reached
Nice.
out to him before I started and says, hey, I'm looking to start my channel. What can you recommend a camera for me? And he's like, yeah, GoPro, man.
Nice.
And when I asked him, you know, because he's a large channel, he's over
Right.
100,000 now. When I had him on, he was not at 100,000 yet, but he's had a large channel. And I asked him, hey, would you be kind enough to join me on the live as a special guest? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, man. Let's do this.
Hmm.
And same thing with Doodle on a Motorcycle. I don't know if you know.
I do know her. Yep.
Yeah. I had her on, and when I had her on, she was at 167,000 subs.
Yep. But see,
And
people,
she's,
well, you'll see the people that are cool with stuff like that, that don't care, and then you'll find the people that do care, and then you kind of find out their motive.
yeah. And talk about humble people. Professional Monkey is very humble. Doodle, she's very humble. I've had Danny D'Lo on.
Mhm.
Uh, I've had Meg's Motorcycle Journey on. I've reached out to Jess from Her Two Wheels, and I
Nice.
talked to her in Daytona, and I found out why she never got back to me, because she changes her email all the time because she gets a lot of inappropriate emails.
I'm sure of it.
You know, um, Blockhead, when I called down to his garage, says, last year, hey, I'm coming to be in Daytona. I'd like to come down and check out the garage. And I talked to Captain Anna, and she's like, yeah, come on down anytime. We're here from this time to this time. We close from 12 to 1 for lunch, so don't come then, but anytime before that. So I went down first thing in the morning, because people usually, when they show up to work, they don't get right to work because you got to have coffee, blah, blah, blah. So I figured it'd be the least impact on the day. And hung out. I actually did some filming down there. Blockhead jumped on there. Chris was on my video. And and Chris and I collaborated over my project Spaceball, because he doesn't use that cam and was curious about it. And next thing I know, we're leaving because I don't want to interrupt their business, because it's a business. Blockhead looks at me and says, hey, you could be around Thursday night? I says, yeah. He goes, hey, we're all running down the Aces. You want to ride with us? I'm like, absolutely.
Nice. Absolutely. Yep. That's called a humble opportunity right there.
Yeah. And Blockhead's 500,000 subs.
Right. Exactly.
One of the most humble guys I've met.
I've been watching Blockhead. I've been watching Blockhead, Professional Monkey, all these guys. Demon's Row. Demon's Row's at 500K now.
Yeah.
You got all these channels. I remember watching, Demon's Row at like 30K, Professional Monkey at 10K. I remember all those times back then, and because I was around the community then, it's
unfortunately, I wasn't, I was around. I came around when I stumbled across John Maxwell.
Yep.
And I started religiously watching YouTube with John Maxwell. And back when I think he had just a Sportster at the time. And then he bought his newest bike, and then did that build up. And then, of course, working at Chattanooga Harley. And then going in, I remember when he went into his own shop, says, I'll have more time for content and videos and all this. I'm sitting there going, no, you won't.
Yeah, right.
No, you won't. You're going to have a lot less time.
Yep.
And that's what happened. He has a lot less time because the man is just super busy.
Yep. And speaking of, what got you into YouTubing? You know what I mean? What got you thinking like, all right, I'm going to be, start making a YouTube channel?
John Maxwell stopped recording.
Okay.
And I work out of my garage, and it's a legit shop in my garage.
So you're like, man, he stops, I can do exactly that.
I could fill his shoes.
Nice.
Which those are some big shoes to fill, and I haven't even filled the toe section yet.
No, but that's really cool though. You know what I mean? That's cool. That's real influence. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And because it shows that it is possible if you put enough care and love and want, and listen, anybody can do it as long as you give a fuck enough.
Yeah.
And but also you can't be up here in a niche, especially where if you get caught fucking lying, you're going to be toast. You know what I mean? If you're a liar, don't be getting hooked up into a subculture like this or something like that, because you can get yourself stumbled up real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I sit there and, hey, when I give out a torque spec, and sometimes I might speak and say, 90 to 120 foot-pounds. And then when I'm editing it, I'm like, damn it, I'll put in there inch pounds.
Right. Yep.
Because, I'm human. I
Yep,
make mistakes.
absolutely.
And as
Mhm.
long as I catch those mistakes, and sometimes I don't,
No, it
um,
happens.
and I get called out on it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. And, I'm only human, you
Yep,
know?
it happens all the time. I mean, shoot, I mean, I do it all the time where I'll be in the middle of a thought or something like that, and I'll blank out right in the middle of it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. We're human, dude.
Yeah. I have this, I go into, it's like today I was filming doing a luggage rack on my tour pack, right?
Hmm.
It's simple. It's drill 4 screws. It's marked in the tour pack where to drill, but I wanted to show it,
Sure.
making a video diary basically.
Right.
Um, and I had this whole idea how I was going to do it, and it didn't come out anywhere close to the way I was hoping it would. But
Really.
it is what it is. I can't refill the holes and re-drill, and
Right. It's once it's already drilled and done, it's done. No, I
yeah.
got you.
And
But
sometimes I've filmed stuff and I've watched it, and I'm like, all right, let's take it all back apart and do it again.
sure. I'm sure that happens.
And it
I'd
sucks when
imagine
that
that
happens, but
it's got to suck. It's got to suck. It would
it
piss
does.
me off
It does. Um,
because you're
but
backtracking. It feels like.
yeah,
Well, I mean, that is backtracking.
when I did the live install of my head pipe on the stage 2 build on my Road Glide, I was having a hard time with it and struggling. I said, that's it, I'm done. And I sat
Yep.
down and I says, you know what, let me loosen everything up. And then it all went together. And you can't hide or edit out anything when it's live.
No,
And I'm
exactly.
not afraid to do it live.
Right.
I'm really not, because you could see that, hey, even I make mistakes, or even I, you know, takes longer than what someone shows in a 15-minute video.
Sure. No, but that's okay. I mean, shoot, and that's the thing. Like, imagine if I hadn't streamed for 15 years leading up to now, where I'd be. I mean, if I had only been streaming for, let's say, a year, like the amount of time that you have been on here, that wouldn't give me a lot of time, compared to my 15 years. That's a lot of time.
And
I've
you're
had a
still
lot of time on
relatively
research.
a young guy too.
Right. I'm 28. So been doing it for a long, long time.
Yeah,
Yes.
with a lot of years of experience.
Yes. Yep. It was a fun thing that I got on the train early, definitely early. But it was on, like I said, different platforms. And like I said, I'm glad that I'm here now because I definitely found home. This is
Yeah,
home, compared to what I was doing 8 hours a single night per show was like what was needed over there to make it happen. And that's not even feasible anymore. That's not possible for me.
thank
Like,
you, Dean.
there's no way.
Yeah,
So now, I'm cool with doing my hours weekly shows. And then I got, shows I'm doing in between that are about the same, whether an hour stream, 2 hour stream, stuff like that is what I'm like getting more used to now. But
yeah,
I used to be like that super, super long form content. And people, it was a trip because I did build that audience, but it took a long time too.
yeah. And see here, Dean's got it right here. It says that's what drew me into my channel is because of my integrity. It's not for sale to anyone, and it's not.
There you go.
And to go back to why I started my channel, well, was John Maxwell's stop, but
Hmm.
also, you know, I walked away from my club, and true transparency, I don't hide it from anybody. There's a lot of stress that goes with being in a club,
Damn straight. Damn
and
straight.
it was not uh, agreeable with my PTSD.
Mm, I
And
bet
my own
you
brothers
trigger it.
was a huge trigger for me. And my own brother's like, dude, what's going on with you? And I would sit down and I'd talk to him.
Damn.
And they said, why don't you take a leave of absence? I'm like, honestly, I don't think that'll help, because if I take a leave of absence, come back, the club life is still here, and it would still be a trigger for me. And they all understood. And
Wow.
when I left, it was nothing but hugs and tears and
Mhm.
saying, brother, are you sure? Are you sure? You're welcome back at any time.
Right.
And I go to the clubhouse and hang out, and they're like, when you coming back, we could really use you,
Of course.
because of the type of person I am is, I try and handle things logically
Yep.
instead of physically.
It's definitely what you need. It's what you need out here.
You
You
know,
need to be able to handle, and usually the reason why it gets physical is because emotions get involved.
yep.
You know what I mean? So people get their little feelers hurt. Oh, poor you.
Show me on the
Like, oh,
doll where that word hurt you.
now you got to point a 9 mm at me, all because you got your little feelers hurt. Oh, poor you.
Because you spoke the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I didn't sit here and be a
Be a man
bitch.
about it.
I'm just like, relax.
Yeah.
But yeah, people do trip over the smallest things.
Yeah. And that's why I left the club
Hmm.
and I'm out in good standing. And I love those guys to death. I still consider them family. Most of them. Some
Right.
of them burn me, and it is
Listen,
what it is.
you have your it happens. It happens. Your own brother's burning, man. It happens.
That happens in real family.
It happens in every family. It happens in any organization. It happens in any collective group of anybody.
Yep. It
This
happens.
is what it is.
And I don't hold any ill will to them. I really don't.
Nope. Me neither. You either come in my life for a reason or a season. That's it. And
Yep.
I'm okay with it. If you come in my life for a small time, that's it. It's cool.
I like that reason or a season. I like
That's
that.
it.
I'm gonna use that if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I've already jotted down a couple of things of
Yep,
yours, so it's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's like when people talk about hooligan riding, I call it spirited riding.
Right. There you go. Yep.
You know,
Spirited riding.
spirited
Mhm.
riding.
That's right.
'Cause one of the things I love to do on Spaceball is spirited riding because that's what it's
Nice.
built for.
Hmm. Yep.
Or if I'm on my road glide, same thing. If I'm by myself, it's spirited. Even though my
Nice.
old lady likes spirited riding once in a while.
I bet.
You know?
I know what kind of riding it is too.
Yeah. There is no better feeling rolling down the highway
Hell,
next
there
to your
isn't.
brothers, 6 inches tire to tire, bar tip to bar tip.
Yep.
You know what they're going to do before they do it. They know what you're going to do before you do it. And you have that trust in each other
It's
that
insane.
no matter what happens, you're going to go from point A to point B safely. And God forbid something unforeseen happens, you have a bunch of people out there looking out for your well-being and your best interest.
Yep. And I'm always the guy that loves hugging the left. I'm always the guy on the left side. So it's hilarious because I'll have my guys on the right, and when I ride with my other brothers and stuff like that, whoever's riding next to me, I swear they know my riding, like I swear, like you just said, like better than I do. Every time I'll make that move, they move with me, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Like it's so like whether it's a pothole or whatever, it could be instant, and it's just instant. Like we're both doing it together, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's like
Now
we're barred down or something like that. It's weird.
And that takes years and thousands of miles to get down, right?
It does. It takes
Now I'm going
so
to blow your
many.
mind because your mind's going to get blown. Another
Mhm.
YouTuber, Wilkie, I don't know if you've seen anything of his
Mhm.
but we were down in New Jersey for the Baggers and Brews ride this past Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
And we stayed at the same hotel. And as luck would have it, I parked right in front of his room, and my room was 4 doors from his. He comes out with beers for my wife and I. We hung out. We had a great time. The next morning, we jump on the bikes, and we're riding side by side going down the road. And I'm thinking, we need to get around this car. By the time I said, we need to, we're doing it.
Yep. It was
And
just
I'm thinking,
automatic.
we need to get gas before, we get there. Next thing you know, we're pulling into a gas station. And I let him take the lead because I never rode with him.
Right.
So, I was side by side, but a little held back there in the beginning
Yep.
till I got comfortable. But
that's what I do with everyone. I do that with every new person. I don't care if you're a club brother or not.
This is the first time we rode together. I felt like he and I rode together for thousands of miles and for years.
Yeah.
It was just that comfortable instantaneously.
Yep. And that's crazy, especially if you don't come from the club lifestyle, and you don't ride that way normally. It can be interesting, especially when you're riding handlebar to handlebar like that.
Yep.
There's a reason why it is called suicide, riding suicide. You know,
Yep.
it is dangerous. It is hard, you know, to do, and it takes lots of skill and practice. And I mean, you literally have to trust the brother next to you with your life,
Yep.
100%, and in front of you, and in behind. Yes, theoretically behind you too, because they could run right into you.
Yep.
Watch that happen a million times too.
Yep.
You know, that happens.
And
But
nobody uses their brake lights. It's all downshift to slow down.
yep,
Because your motors are in sync, your shifting's in sync.
yep,
And Wilson
everything is
and
the
I
same.
had that. We shifted exact same times. We broke at the exact same times. We downshifted it was like amazing. Roadie Riders, who's from Rhode Island, that was the first time we rode together, was going from Connecticut to Central Jersey. And while we're on that ride, we're handlebar to handlebar. I put the cruise control out and we went out and I just fist bumped him.
This one, yep.
You know, and he got a kick out of that. And, you know, he's like, I hope you got that on video. I said, actually, I do.
Yep. Yeah. But that's cool, man. That's cool to be able to have moments like that, especially when, like I said, that's not their normal thing. And I also want to put a preface on that. If you, let's say that, yeah, that's a great story. And then that's an amazing thing. Also remember, guys, too, that it can be extremely fucking dangerous. And if you're riding outside your own comfort zone,
Yep.
realize that and slow the fuck down, because you're going to kill yourself. You know, I don't need you to kill yourself trying to keep up with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
I tell everybody all the time, I'll ride at your level.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. And that's what it's supposed to be. You know, if my riding capability is above yours, well, now we're riding at yours. That's
exactly.
Okay. There's
and
nothing
I'm not
wrong
the best
with that.
rider out there.
And vice versa. But I mean, I feel like, I feel like I can do some pretty cool things on a bike, but at the same time, who am I, you know? But nonetheless, I don't know, man. It's fun out there. You just have to know that you guys it's a dangerous game out there. And if you're putting your life out there every time, just you riding by yourself, let alone you being in a pack or trying to keep up or whatever. I think Southern California is definitely what got me on that. Like, you know, how we were talking about riding earlier and like how we ride. Well, like for instance, like how I was telling you, like at the green light or, you know, jumping from the red light from the green, you know, that takeoff, I think I get that from that Southern California club style ride. You know, that's what it is down here, you know, is it's heavy off of it, you know, and a lot of these guys, we're riding hard. Okay. We're definitely riding hard. It's not super, super, super easy to do. You've got to be the whole time. And we do this on bikes already. Have your neck on basically a swivel, but at the same time, now you add that much extra, you know, so you just got to be careful out there. Just be careful. That's all I care about.
Absolutely. You know, ride your ride. That's what I always say. Ride your ride.
It looks like a team sport. It looks like a team sport from the outside looking in. It looks like a fucking team sport. You're riding in a pack, but it's not. You're riding your own fucking ride. And if you do anything to jeopardize my pack, I'm pulling you the fuck out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the way it goes.
Yep. You know, it's all about having fun, getting from point A to point B, having fun and getting there, everybody getting there in one piece.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then there's always going to be somebody in the pack. That's why I don't do a lot of group rides anymore, because there's always somebody in the pack who thinks that they can outride their ability because they think their ability is up here when their ability is down here. That's
what I mean by that. That's what can really mess somebody up. It can kill them, or it can hurt somebody else and kill somebody else. It can not just hurt you, dude. You know, like you got other people around and you're trying to keep up. You're going to end up slamming into the back of somebody. You're going to end up freaking taking out the guy to your right or something. You're going to do something retarded. You know, just take it easy out there. You don't need to just take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
I don't know. People get embarrassed when they're like, oh, I don't ride that fast. You know, like, well, that's okay. We'll ride at your speed then. We'll chill at this speed. There's nothing wrong with it. The AC/DC song. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. And you know what's funny is I drove the 405 every single day to work for a decade. And that was an hour and a half one way and an hour and a half back to back and forth. So I'm doing 3 hours of transit a day just to work on the 405. So if anyone knows Southern California, 405 fucking sucks.
Nope, don't know it one bit.
405 and the 91 in California suck. Both of those.
Now, do you wrench on your own bike or?
I do somewhat. Okay, so I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy that's your level, and I'm also not the guy that is just doing snap-on. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I'll do the smaller jobs, and then when it comes to like the bigger jobs, I have luckily big brothers of mine that know how they. I mean, they're legit mechanics. You know what I mean? That's what they do for a living. And I don't ask them ever to do any of my work because that's not what I want. I want them to show me how to do that work. So every time I'm doing any type of work on the bike, I'm in a garage with one of my brothers.
Yep.
Now, if I can't do it myself, now I'm usually with one of them and they're teaching me how to do it. And they're going, okay, grab this, grab that. You're going to need this. You're going to need that. And that kind of saves me a ton of time to figure out what I need or whatever. And then they can tell me and then I'll remember that for next time. Obviously, you know, I don't have to sit there on YouTube typing in each and every step that I have needed, or I need to stop, you know, whatever. I can sit there and ask him, or he can tell me, hey, don't do this. You need this, you know, or whatever. A YouTube video is not going to correct you on the spot if you fucking up.
See, you just got called out. SS Couches. Yes, he does.
Yeah. I work on it a little bit.
That's awesome. You know, because not everybody can do everything. We're all subject matter experts in our own field.
Right. You know, I'm definitely not the guy that can like sit here and hold a huge conversation with like parts and like stuff like that and like different, you know, like your level. You definitely got a level of like, you know, where you're a mechanic and you're at that level and this is like the back of your hand, you know. For me, it's not. For me, it's definitely hard.
The way you are about researching, you know, YouTube and video editing and all that. I'm that way with parts and manuals and things like that. Where I was on Moto Noggin's live one night and he started asking me about lifters and what they were. And I went on for an hour and a half
about them,
about lifters and how they work. And, you know, when you have adjustable push rods and where to adjust them and how much to adjust them. And depending, you know, I went on a whole hour and a half.
It's straight mathematics, you know, and if you're sitting there and you know, there's so much steps to every little thing here, there's so much to the equation, you know, but you're solving it quick.
Yep. And, you know, it just sat there and it just blew his mind. And he was just like excited about it because, you know, now he's got some in-depth motorcycle content on his channel.
Right.
And, you know, no disrespect to him. And he even tells you his wrenching on his channel is a shit show.
Right. No, that's cool. That's cool that he's like, look, I'm still trying to do it anyways because I'm doing it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's cool that he's still trying and doing it. You know what I mean?
He's actually trying to build a chopper.
Like, that's awesome. Like for me, obviously, like I said earlier in the show, if you want it bad enough, you'll do it, right? Well, I don't necessarily want it bad enough. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth. That's just being honest. I don't want to sit here and look up gearhead shit all day long because that's not who I am all the time. Like,
that's not your interest.
Yeah, it's not the main, like, I need to know this and this because I love motorcycles. I love all the parts of it. No, not necessarily. For me, it's like I love riding. I love doing that shit. But I putting it together. You know what I mean? Like I'll somewhat enjoy it, but it's really a pain in the ass kind of thing. To me, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, to me, I find it as enjoyable as riding.
Right. See, I totally see it opposite.
Yeah.
But I'm still willing to sit there and learn it, though. I'm still willing to have an OG tell me, hey, this is how you do it.
So Here's the thing about Noggin. You know, Noggin he's got a sports arrest and he's all about it and loves it. Good for him, you know. And he last year was telling everybody how he was going to ride his sports arrest from upstate New York to Daytona Beach for Bike Week.
Mm.
And everybody's telling him, you're crazy, you're nuts, you shouldn't do it. You know, and I looked at him and says, look, personally, I wouldn't want to take that ride on that bike. But if you want to take that ride and you make that ride and you get down there, you don't take that away from you. Number one. Number two, you'll shut everybody up.
That part. Yep.
You know, because he did it.
Well, hell, I mean, that's the thing, man.
When he left upstate New York, there was snow on the ground. It was cold as hell. And I met up with him in Maryland. And we tried getting his bike into the RV and then no room in the trailer. We ended up pushing him to south of Richmond, Virginia for the night. And he crashed with us in the RV. And then he made the rest of the trip. He did the whole trip on himself.
Wow.
You know,
that's a trek to do by yourself.
Nothing but respect for taking a bike I'm not willing to make that trip on. And making that trip
and good on you for admitting that too, you know, and saying, hey, I wouldn't do it.
Hey, I was dumb enough. I rode the Sturgis from Connecticut in 2010 on the 93 Softail with a Badlander seat and 18-inch apes because I thought it'd be a fun time.
18-inch apes. Yeah, fun for your shoulder blades, huh?
I spent the whole...
How many times were you like, just like one arming it going, dude, I just want to fucking put my arms down?
No, how about going like this?
Yeah, doing that the whole bit. Yeah.
Oh, slowing down too much.
Well, it's funny because I ride with high, you know, T-bars. So because of that, when I'm riding like up here almost, you know? And so it's like when I'm riding, I'm up here. So I feel that a lot, but not like this. You know, I'm not doing the whole ape hang or nothing, but I am still like this the whole time. Yeah. And I'll do that whole like stretch back. You know, you have to. Your shoulder blades will feel it.
Well, I was on a Badlander seat. So when I got to Sturgis, and I did old school on the way out there, I camped on the side of my bike.
Oh, that's rad. That's rad.
And I got to Sturgis. I got to the Buffalo Chip. I checked in. I stayed in my little hooch there that I rented out for the week. And I did zero riding out there. And I wanted to ride all these great rides out there.
Wow. And yeah, you just did it because you knew that you also had the ride back.
I sat
there. You're beat up as hell.
I bruised my kidneys. I was walking bent over for about 3 days because my tailbone was so sore. And then Friday, I'm sitting there going, all right, I got to leave because I got to get back to the clubhouse because I was a prospect for another club. My first club at the time was a 99 club. And I sat there and I said, oh, man, I'll fly home and ship the bike. I'm like, no, I need the bike for a ride. So I left Sturgis, South Dakota at 11:30 in the morning on Friday. I was in Milford, Connecticut, which is on the coast, by 7 a.m. Sunday.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. You were pounding.
I was triple digits the whole ride. The only time I stopped was gas, bathroom, and, you know, Red Bulls.
Yep. And you're consolidating the piss, the gas, and all of that all into one stop at the gas station. You know what I mean? That's it.
I got to the clubhouse. I made the coffee, opened it up. The guy showed up. We left. We went to the party, and it was a morning party. And there was a 1% club, and they're looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I just rode in this morning." From where? Sturgis.
Yeah.
They're like, "Wait a minute. When did you leave?" I said, 11:30 on Friday. Like, dude, sit down. I'm like, oh, no, please, no. It's like, you telling me no? Yeah, because if I sit down, I'll be in too much pain.
I won't be able to get myself back up.
No, I would be in a lot of pain just sitting down on my tailbone because I was pissing blood for another 3 days after that.
Yeah, if you fuck up your kidneys, you can definitely do that. Yep.
So after that party, I parked the bike and I didn't look at it for a week.
I bet. Shit, I would do the same. Yep. At that point, I'd be like, all right. I need to sit here and just chill. Forget that. Put too many miles on. Too
Yeah.
quick.
2,400 miles.
That's a lot. A lot to do, man. Forget it. Forget it. No thanks.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
that
a little too
that
much for me.
yeah. And when he was telling me he wanted to make that ride, that's where I was like, no, dude, no, not on that bike. No, I don't want to do it.
But then dude does it, you know. Hey, shit.
Yeah.
Much love, Dan.
Leather wrapped around the brick of cement. Yeah, that's basically a Badlander seat. All right, DDK, have a good one, brother. He's a good dude, DDK.
Much love.
Yeah, he really is, man. He's a
No,
stand-up guy,
absolutely.
and he was doing his suspension with Tweedledee the same day I was doing Roadie Rider's suspension and Corey's suspension from
Nice.
Suspension Technologies, and yeah, they did a good job. They got it done in one day, and I had 2 sets done, but before they were done with their 1 set, but they
Hey,
don't do it all the time. I think that was my 200th suspension I've done in the past like 3 years. So
exactly. You know, there's
repetition.
definitely a difference. You doing it, you know, that many times a year or per month or whatever, you know, you break it down. Well, yeah, you know, you're doing it all the time. So you're gonna definitely outbeat them.
And it's not a race. And
No,
they
but it's
called
just
me up.
natural.
We called up each other and they asked questions and I answered questions. They asked what tools they need. And I told them and they went out. They spent 2.5 hours looking for the tools,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and they found a tool, but it really wouldn't work. So they modified it and MacGyvered it and made it work.
Yep. I know the feeling of just that, and that sucks
Yeah.
having to do that.
So I'm sitting there on the camera going, it's right here, guys. Here's the
Yeah,
socket.
this is the socket. Oh, is that for the nut that goes around the freaking the special one that you need? That's a deep, super deep to be able to pull from. I forget
The
what
bottom of the
that's.
shock. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
And I
that
said to
hole.
him, hey, not only have this one, I got another one too.
Yeah, you're like I got a few of these whole things. You know,
Yeah.
actually.
They're like, dick.
Yep. Yep. Meanwhile, they spent like a total of like 3-4 hours dealing with that one problem. And that's what I mean by dealing with the problem. Like that's what I wanted to be able to consolidate. And if, you know, for instance, my friends and stuff like that are YouTubers and stuff, of course, I'm gonna tell them too, like what's up, like what's going on with the like if I find out like the research and stuff like that, I'm gonna of course let them in on it and be like,
Yeah,
yo, like I figured this out. You don't have to sit here and keep researching when I found something that kind of works. You know what I
exactly.
mean? And see if it works for you. And then sure as shit, it worked for multiple channels. And it was like, all right, well, fucking A, it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It, I just had such a great time, that weekend, um, hanging out with guys, wrenching on their bikes. And, that's what it comes down to. And,
Yep.
I didn't charge anybody labor because, you know, I was on the phone with Corey. Corey's like, holy shit, I just got a suspension delivered. It was gifted to him from an unknown person. And I said, well, get on your bike and get your ass down here.
Right.
He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, by the time you get here, I'll have Rhodey's done. Get down here. When
Damn.
Rhodey got his, I said, so when you coming down? He goes, how's Saturday? Perfect.
Wow. So it was like back to back,
Yeah.
perfect.
And that Saturday morning, I'm talking to Corey on the phone, and I'm like, dude, get your ass down here. Let's get it done.
Right. Hell
He's
yeah.
like, but I'm like, no buts. Get your ass on your bike and right down here. He goes, well, how do I get the front shocks down to you? I said, you got a tour pack. Bungee it to the tour pack to the front of it. He's like, good idea.
Yep. I wouldn't know how to bring them either. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that's how I would do. You'd have to.
Yeah. I said,
Yep.
you could strap them to your back like a mutant ninja turtle,
Yep. You could.
or you bungee them to your tour pack.
Yep. And I don't put anything over my back at all. So
Yeah. I tell people all the time, you could drop ship parts here all the time, tires, whatever. Like, nope. People show up with tires around their waist right in their bike.
I'd rather have it delivered straight to the freaking shop or to you,
Yeah.
whoever's installing or whatever. But hey, you want to have it delivered to your house? Cool. You can deal with it.
Yeah, it makes it
You can
easier
get
for
it
you.
here. Yeah, and I
Makes
don't
it,
have to deal with it.
and I'm the type of guy, I'll sit there and says, okay, you got this bike. Okay, these are the tire sizes that's supposed to be having. And then I'll look at the tire size. A couple times I reach out and says, hey, your tires got delivered, but you ordered the wrong ones.
Oh,
Well, what do you
shit.
mean? You got an 18-inch rim and you ordered 16-inch tires.
How does that happen?
Well, because standard and special,
Mm.
they selected standard instead of the special,
Ah, got you.
or vice versa. They thought they
Got
had a
you.
special when they have a standard,
That's
or
radical.
they bought the bike used and somebody put different wheels on it that are a different size.
Yeah, custom. Yep. Yep, that happens. Interesting. Very interesting. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
radical.
I'm going to put this to an end. We've been at this 2 hours and almost 45 minutes tonight.
Hey, man,
It
I
goes by
very much
fast.
appreciate you for having me on in the
Oh, you
first
kidding me? The
place.
honor's all mine to have you on my channel, Mike.
Oh, come on, man. We're here as a team, man, and at the end of the day, you can tell when you talk to someone within the first 5 minutes if they're like, what kind of like you I don't know if I can or if everyone can, but I can definitely tell instantly, kind of like right away, who and what they're about and what their kind of character is. And it was definitely a pleasure talking with you this time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this
Hopefully you
this
vetted
and
me. I'm sure you did.
what was that?
I'm sure you vetted me.
Yeah, they're right, right. No, no. I listen, man. Us as content creators, we all do that. I think we all kind of, and that's also another thing. We all of us in this space, we all kind of keep an eye on each other. You know what I mean? We all kind of like, all right, we're gonna keep our eye on everyone and be respectful of everyone's like time slots and shit like that. Like,
Yep.
there's stuff that like we're all trying to be respectful of because no one wants to step on anyone.
Yep.
And at the same time, we want to do something for the betterment of the community, right? So,
Exactly.
and for the betterment of us too. I mean, every time I do one of these shows, it betters myself too. So,
Exactly. It helps me better being an interviewer. Because I'll have lives like every Wednesday night and I might not have a guest.
sure,
And I feel very blessed that I had Danny D'Lo on last week and I have you on this week. I have
it's
nobody
rad.
lined up for next week. I have some ideas. I hope they work out, but if not, then I'll just do, shoot the shit with Dr. Harley. Let's have some fun and hang out type
Right,
of
right on.
live, because I like building consistency,
Yep. No,
you know,
and that's you always should. Like I swear, like it's really hard, but even when something drops through, like if it's out of your control, if you can still do it, do it. You know what I mean? Like because of that consistency. Um, I try my damnedest to, if I were only uploading once a week, I would have to like guarantee 1000% that I'm not going to cancel anything.
right.
You know what I mean? Where I would still show up even if the guest canceled, whatever, last second, whatever. Now, luckily, at this point, I put out so much content that I don't necessarily feel too bad if, let's say, one of the guests cancel or something. I definitely have a lot of, you know, because of the amount of content I do, I don't necessarily feel that super obligated to like where I have to do it. And it's like, okay, now I can relax and chill for on that aspect of like trying to like get myself to do something that I don't want to do at that moment,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I never feel like I have to put something out.
Well, and well, I know because I put my own pressure on myself back in the day. I had done that to myself, so I'm basically speaking to myself here. You know, my younger self, but my older self here, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you, SS Contractor. I appreciate it. Much,
absolutely.
much love, honor, and respect to you. I sit there and I always sit there, hey, Sundays, I have videos right now going all the way out to the end, almost the end of November,
Wow.
scheduled to go out
Mm-hmm.
because I know there's going to be a time where I might not have a video and I have some ideas that, okay, if I come up on a video a
Yep.
week that I'm not going to have a video, I have these ideas I could, shoot,
Absolutely.
you
And
know?
that's where exactly where I feel at this point is where I'm at is exactly that. Is like I'll put out that content like that to where, let's say I didn't put out something. Well, it's not like nobody else didn't get to see me or whatever. I still
Right.
am putting out that content, you know?
Because yeah, I do this, it's a hobby. I do it for fun, but also at the same time, I feel that hey, people are now used to seeing my content come up on Sunday evenings and my lives on Wednesday. I don't want to disappoint them.
Right, exactly, exactly. It's more of like it's not even like a you thing. It's like no, it's like it's almost the feeling of the pressure of letting them down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I was getting at. And it's hard not to put that pressure on you. And especially when you're going, well, fuck, I just need to grind and put out and yes and no. Because there's been lots of times where I've gone live and I didn't want to, let's say, and I still kill it. Now, I have an amazing time, let's say, and the live is jumping and great and blah blah blah. But afterwards, I'll have like almost like a panic attack. You know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
like I didn't really want to do all of that, or I wasn't really prepared for all of that because I was going in with the wrong headspace or something like that. And there has been those times too. And don't get me wrong, it still happens,
Well,
but it's just you have to it comes with this territory too. You have to be willing to put yourself in those situations as well.
yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've always lurked in the background ninja the Sunday shows when I wasn't out writing or I wasn't working in the garage with you in
Sure.
Hollywood. This Sunday, I won't be a ninja in the background. I'll make myself known.
There you go. We'd love to see you especially on the side chat. You know what I
I'm
mean?
nobody special. I'm just me,
Oh, come on, man. Come on. We know.
fat old
Uh,
dumb guy.
no, I'm the guy. I'm the dumb legless guy. How about that? So boom.
with some phenomenal producing skills.
Hey, we're all right. We do all right, right?
Stop the cap.
No, I'm just joking. We're all right.
But hey, I want to give you a minute to final
Hey, well,
say here before we
sincerely,
sign out.
guys, every single one of you guys that stuck around to hear all of us, both of us out, and it's really amazing to be able to have the opportunity to have a platform like this. Like, I still like trip every day on this shit. Like, I love doing this. I love doing and staying by my word, my integrity, everything I stand for. I put out on here, man. Papa, thank you, man. That's massive love. Um, listen, man, it's for you guys to sit here and hear me and you guys are telling me that you guys getting value or whatever, that kind of shit, it's worth more than money, man. And it's something that money couldn't be bought with. And I'm very appreciative of everybody that wants to sit here and listen and hear out or hear a story or even that my story is interesting enough to even listen to in the first place. So I thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. And I hope to see you all very soon.
All right. With that being said, hang out in the green room real quick,
You got it.
everybody. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.